Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Nautical Explosion. 5 Elders, how many divisions do you have? Chapter 81. Bang. Stussy faces unprecedented firepower. She wanted to escape, but there is no escape. Heaven and earth and sea are the enemy's army. And this legion can appear around her at will. The former servants followed each other, regardless of life and death. Self-detonating paratroopers all over the sky. Flying soldiers charging with guns. Bullets poured down, like death harvesting lines, crisscrossing and cutting. Stussy counterattacked with a Super 6. But no matter how many people she shot down, the soldiers on the other side launched a steady stream of fierce attacks on her. She didn't even have time to breathe. No matter which gap she starts to break through, there will always be tracking shells, chasing after her. There are so many of them. It looks like a churning wave of metal. Over time, the rhythm of her attacks was interrupted. This was followed by a sharp exertion of physical strength. After all, there is no respite for a second. It's too much physical exertion. I surrender. Stussy before armament hockey came over. Hit by several powerful rocket missiles. Embarrassed on the spot. After some trade-offs, Stussy didn't choose to fight hard to the end. Although she obviously still has a lot of strength. But she knew it well. Surrounded by people who could not break through. Once stubbornly resist to the end. There is only one result waiting for her. That's death. Kaido is the best proof of that. So Stussy, after discovering this situation, immediately raise your hands and surrender. As long as you keep a certain strength. He was not killed for the first time after the surrender. Stussy felt he still had a chance. Frontal toughness has never been her strong point. Fake surrender yourself. This made Ren let his guard down. Hugh can even be sacrificed. Then lurk away in the dark of night. That's what she does best. But doing so is also a big gamble. Once this little devil, after their own surrender. Kill yourself immediately. That is equivalent to giving for nothing. But there is no way. She had to bet on this. This is the only way to live at the moment. The resistance was much weaker than expected, and I thought it would consume more troops, but I didn't expect to surrender directly. Ren muttered to himself as he looked at Stussy, who had surrendered. This woman's methods are never on the frontal battlefield, and young people like you should be more careful. Jabba reminded. No matter what means she has, she is doomed to failure. Ren said indifferently. Because of the soldiers responsible for guarding Stussy. It is impossible to rebel or seduce. The usual means of CPO. Useless against his soldiers. Seeing this, Jabba didn't say anything more. He looked confident. Then there is no need for him as an outsider to say anything. Ren really wouldn't kill Stussy directly. Since she surrendered. Then try it yourself. Whether the mind controller is able to control her. If you can. In the future, there will be his eyeliner inside the CPO. This is a very important eyeliner. At the moment, Ren eyeliner only penetrates Marine. The real top of the world government. No eyeliner yet. So transform Stussy into your own as much as possible. If she swears to resist. That Ren may not be sure of capturing alive when he tries. She can only be killed. But she seemed to want to try something else. Surrender neatly. That's great. Prepare for it, and in 3 hours, a public execution of Kurozumi Serpent and a bunch of criminals will be carried out, and it will be announced that Wanyuni will henceforth be owned by the Allies. Ren turned to a senior commander and said, Wano Kuni's overall strength is very strong. Otherwise, it would not have been possible under Kaido's rule for many years. It can still ignite the fire of rebellion. Especially the strength of some of them. Compared to the 6 sons of the Valley and the 3 disasters, it is not much different. Kawamatsu, Hyogoro, Ashura Boy, Mad Death. If the relationship gets right. The 2 kings of the fur tribe Cats and Dogs. Also became a vassal of the Allies. A high-end combat force second only to 4 emperors. Pulled up at once. In addition, the overall strength of the samurai should not be underestimated. In this country, there are many powerful swordsmen. This is in addition to the Soul Ore. The second big harvest after winning Wano Kuni. Mr. Jabba, please. It turned out to be a guest, and Ren naturally showed hospitality. And at this moment, Wano Kuni is caught in a sea of revelry. Ooh, beasts pirates fell. Kaido is dead. Wano Kuni liberated, after a dozen previous large-scale nuclear explosions. All live streams were lost for a while. But it didn't take long. Live streaming resumes again. They saw what happened to Kaido. I also saw the giants who suddenly joined forces. Wano Kuni natives certainly don't know about these giants. But it can be felt from their conversation. These guys, even in the open seas, are not comparable to Kaido. It must not be far off. Even that ant's strength is extremely powerful and terrifying. Even Kaido was directly reprimanded for speaking. Even then Kaido didn't refute anything. When so many strong people land, the whole people of Wano Kuni were worried about Ren for a while. Many people have subconsciously regarded Ren as a hero of Wano Kuni. Hiyori was even in a cold sweat behind his back. She was afraid that Ren would not be able to withstand the pressure of outsiders. They all heard. Those people came to divide up Kaido's territory. It's a jackal, tiger, leopard. And everything that happened next. It's so obsessed with Kazuki Hiyori. The body trembled slightly. Feel a cloudy breath exhale, incomparably exciting. The young man shows the horror of his own strategy and manipulation of human nature. He divides the enemy. Let them go their separate ways. It is no longer possible to form an alliance threat to him. If it weren't for some accident, he may even want to counter-exploit that power. Eradicate that dangerous ant, even if it doesn't work out in the end. But these evil spirits covet Wano Kuni. They were all scared away by him. At that time, Rihei seemed to be satisfied like never before. She only felt that how could there be such a perfect and powerful man in this world? So perfect that she, Wano Kuni's first beauty, couldn't help but feel excited. Even self-shame. Mad Death Lang-san, do you say he is really a good girl? Hiyori couldn't help but ask the Mad Death Lang beside him. Mad Dead Lang couldn't react at once. Princess Hiwa, is something wrong? Nothing. Mad Dead Lang didn't feel quite right, though. But didn't say anything. It's about returning to the reality of the moment. Princess Hyo, now that Beast's Pirates has fallen, but we don't know what the attitude of this so-called allied army is towards Wano Kuni, I suggest you gather the old ministry in the name of the Kazuki family. If the allies are another Beast's Pirates, we can't let them destroy our country. Mad Death Lang mentioned that it was indeed the most important question at the moment. He shouldn't be that kind of person. Although there has been no communication yet. Lovely behavior, eyes, words. Sometimes it proves a lot. Maybe, but we can't be unguarded. It's about the big picture, and Hiyori knows to take precautions. Wait until the demons are gone. The whole of Wano Kuni is filled with mountain and tsunami roars. Whatever the future holds for Wano Kuni. At least for a moment, they were free. Kaido, who dominated Wano Kuni for years, has finally fallen. All these years, they lived in purgatory every day. There are often starving bodies on the roadside. Rivers and food full of toxins. Tyranny of arbitrariness. They see no hope. But now that haze has cleared. Great. Long live the allies. Wano Kuni fell into the festive Wang Yang. Ren didn't stop there. Instead, let them vent their emotions. And the captives of Beast's Pirates. At this moment, there is no dead ash on every face. Their boss lost and died. The pillars of faith of many have collapsed. They were confused. But some pirates have also come alive. Good birds choose trees to live in. It's cool under the big trees. Such a terrifying and powerful force as the Allies. It is the most likely to become one piece. We are willing to submit to the Allies. Many former Beast's Pirates cadres expressed their opinions. If only Kaido were alive. They still have a hope. But AEG is gone. They pirates should also think about their future. Although there is still a very small number of people who oppose it. But that kind of voice can no longer affect the big picture. The power of the Allied forces will be one more point stronger. If you think of Kaido as a 10-star warrior, then Wano Kuni 7-star 8-star warriors, there are quite a few. And when Wano Kuni fell into the whole world fell into panic and shock. Beasts Piratessa, as a group of 4 emperors. At every moment, many forces are watching their movements. Even if they didn't see what was happening. But just a little traceability. You can find out the fact that Beast's Pirates has been banned. However, many forces have just realized that something is wrong. Morgan's News newspaper was the first to report on the incident. Beast's Pirates were annihilated by the Allies. 4 emperors Kaido of the Beasts killed. Ember and Quinn of the Three Tribulations died in battle. Beasts Pirates starts today. No more. On the news, there are also several photos of Kaido's corpse. Credibility greatly increased. As soon as this news came out, the world is shocked. Even Marine HQ and world government are no exception. They never expected the Kaido of the Beasts in King's Landing for many years. Suddenly killed by someone. What the hell is going on here? Is this allied army so fierce, so pervert? It's only been a long time. How could even the four emperors be planted in their hands? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. How could the big brothers lose to such a newly emerged little devil? Impossible. On an attached island. Jack had just taken out a team that was causing trouble on the island. But I saw such news reports. He couldn't believe such a thing. Roaring in the sky, almost crazy. His next island is Dressrosa. As a result, my home is now gone. It's not just home that's gone. The old Yamato brother is also gone. It's not true. Kaido big brother is so strong, he is invincible, how can he lose? I don't believe it. I'm going back to Wano-kuni to have a look. Run, who was wearing a mask, also said madly. Sister. Peggy looked downcast. But since there is a picture, it is also from Morgan's personal report. This news of King Bird's news. Always a symbol of truth. This matter, even if they can't accept it. But I'm afraid it's true. Jack, that guy from Kaido is dead. From now on, this island is under Uncle Ben's control, and Lao Su will no longer serve you. Originally an affiliate captain of Beasts Pirates. After learning that Kaido is dead, decisively declare that their island will no longer submit to the defunct Beasts Pirates. They set themselves up as kings. Find death. Jack attacks in anger. Rumble. The big war broke out on the island in an instant. Now, the already tight and tense Marine headquarters. Now it's even more commotion. All officers of Vice Admiral and above call an emergency ad hoc meeting. Liar. Kaido's monster was actually knocked down. Kizaru walked in and watched everyone discuss. Immediately said quite incredulously, he has played against Kaido many times. But not once did I take advantage. Even because the other party's methods are more vicious and despicable. He has suffered many losses. Kizaru's marine base is located next to Beasts Pirates. Be prepared for their sudden attack on the Holy Land or Marine headquarters. I didn't expect to hear this news again. But Beasts Pirates is finished. Allies. At present, it seems that it is also an extremely dangerous organization. A cold light flashed in Akainu's eyes. As soon as the fist was clenched, it instantly burned red. Dark red magma flowed between his fists and fingers. As long as there is a chance. Such dangerous organization. Of course, it is necessary to clear it early. It's really not peaceful for a moment, especially at a time like this, when we all seem to underestimate this force that has suddenly emerged. Aokiji also swept away the previous laziness. Since the Buster Call incident, Marine headquarters and the world government are already taking this force seriously. But I never expected that they would have the strength to take out the four emperors. This is far more terrifying than a few regular standard Buster Calls. How is not exaggerating? The usual Buster Call meets the four emperors pirate group. Will be scared away directly. Having lost all the news of the Whitebeard pirates, they could attack the Marine headquarters at any time, and in such a tense moment, one of the four emperors has fallen. Although in terms of results, it is good for us, after all, it took no effort to make a four emperors disappear. But this newly rising ally is too dangerous. Quote. Didn't Marine over there in New World find anything unusual beforehand? Garp asked. No, it's probably a raid. A vice admiral replied. They've turned to several Marine bases in New World. But those Marine base don't know. Gion is now in a Marine base. At the moment, she controls the overall situation of the entire base. All the guys who resist the strong will, all advance the mind controller. Gion looked at Vice Admiral in front of him and said indifferently. This Vice Admiral used to be the dogleg of his world aristocracy. No less privilege, no less harm to others. She took advantage of this meeting. Bring Vice Admiral like Stieras. Controlled his plot. Now it's time to force your way into the mind controller. The Ren guy has already taken out the four emperors. She can't stand still, she has to make a little achievement. Currently all of New World has Marine base. More than 60% has been controlled by her. It's all about communication and banquets. And then calculated one high-ranking officer after another. Hey, Morgans, what's going on with all your news? Marshal Sengoku was growling at the phone bug. Seek verification of the truth of the matter. The report has been passed to 5 elders, and don't doubt my professionalism, you know, I never report fake news. Morgans hung up the phone worm after speaking. The next moment, Marshal Sengoku received a call from the world government 5 elders. And their latest bounty order for Ren that they personally developed. We already know the matter, but the current big war is imminent. We have nothing to lose on the Wano-kuni side, and we are fully prepared to fight Whitebeard. This war, we can only win, not lose, otherwise under the influence of this kind of event, the authority of the world government will become lower and lower. These are the words from 5 elders. At present, first increase the bounty, set 5 billion Baileys, 4 emperors replacement, is also a common occurrence. After solving the matter at hand, then find a way to contact or solve the allies. Yes, but actually, the 5 elders are not as calm as they are on the surface when they talk to Marshal Sengoku. I didn't expect that guy from Kaido would be killed. He was arrested for the lab many years ago, and his genes were modified to a certain extent, and it stands to reason that he is indeed extremely difficult to kill. Didn't the report mention how Kaido was killed? Nope, it seems that Morgans is hiding a lot from us. The allies sprang up. The limelight was so strong that some people even gave him the title of God Slayer, which greatly affected the majesty of celestial dragons all over the world. This voice was slightly cold. How to deal with it? If it is ordinary, it is natural to contact first. Knock. If you are interested, you can establish a certain cooperative relationship. If it is confirmed that it is harmful to us, you will eradicate it at all costs, but the matter of Whitebeard cannot be ignored at the moment. Is there any intelligence from Stussy? No, maybe it was an emergency, and no intelligence came. It's hard to judge the level of threat from the allies, but there's no doubt that the guys who can kill Kaido are very dangerous. Let CP0 go to Wano-kuni to find out the intelligence. Naturally, need to plan further. Hold on for now, kill Whitebeard first, and declare to the world that what will happen to us is an enemy, and you can also suppress this storm brought up by the allies. After all, Whitebeard is more famous than Kaido. Then raise the bounty first, and after winning Whitebeard, then delve into the allies. Agreed. Quote, 5 elders though surprised that Kaido fell. Speculation is also about the threat of the allies. But helplessly, there is too little information from New World. As a result, they could not assess how great the threat from the allies was. If it's just a normal 4 emperors level threat, they have long been accustomed to it. 4 emperors turnover is not uncommon. In the past 2 decades, it has also changed several times. Kaido, the Redhead is a late-stage show that took out the original 4 emperors. The 4 emperors before them also pulled others off their horses and came later. Only the status of Ant and Whitebeard. It's been as steady as an upside-down mountain. 5 billion Baileys. The generals at Marine headquarters looked at the latest bounty formulated above. I couldn't help but be shocked. Many 4 emperors have fought for a lifetime, and this bounty is almost there. Ren rose like a comet. After only a few battles, he has the huge bounty he has today. However, Kaido's bounty is more than 4.6 billion. It is not too much for Ren, who defeated Kaido, to be offered a bounty of 5 billion Baileys. It's just that it's still extremely shocking. Criminals of this bounty. Usually there is not one for several years. In recent years, even redheads have not reached this bounty. The current redhead bounty is only 4.9 billion Baileys. That is, judging by the bounty. The level of danger for this allied leader is already above the redhead. Gentlemen, the allies already exist, and the fall of Kaido is a big enemy missing out of thin air for us Marine. The allies are just walking from the shadows to the light, so our current focus is not on the allies, but on the war in front of us. Whitebeard is about to attack, only 36 hours away from public execution. Everyone needs to recuperate and win this war. 5 elders has focused on fighting Whitebeard. Marshal Sengoku laid out and boosted morale around this. Marshal Sengoku, in that case, are we going to ignore the rise of the allies? At this time, Vice Admiral asked a little angrily. Not ignoring, but not acting on them for the time being. Whitebeard's threat is a priority. Squirrel, I know you've suffered in East Blue, but don't be arrogant. judging by the current strength of the Allies, it was a fluke that you were able to escape. Marshal Sengoku said in a calm voice. I know. The flying squirrel's face was slightly unwilling. But in my heart, I have already thought about the content of the letter waiting for the following. Today world government and Marine headquarters took no military action against the Allies. It's only been a long time. The little guy who threatened us not long ago already has the ability to bring down the 4 emperors. Sengoku, the threat of the Allied forces should not be underestimated. Vice Admiral Garp said with a slight frown. Remembered not so long ago. Ren spoke to them for the first time. They didn't really take him to heart at that time. But in the blink of an eye, he did a series of major events that caused a sensation in the world. I know, but now that Whitebeard is more threatening, are we going to send troops to fight the Allies? Sengoku also sensed a significant threat from the Allies. But a force that can bring down Kaido. They want to take it down. At least 2 Marine admirals were also mobilized. Alone, even with the elite. Unable to take Wano-kuni either. Even 2 are hard. After all, Wano-kuni is easy to defend and difficult to attack. But I really have to pull it out. Battles with Whitebeard have their win rate plummeted. Once you lose, the consequences are unimaginable. Far greater than the current Allied forces. And they have already informed the whole world. At this time, it is also to drive ducks to the shelves. No, no, no. It is impossible to say that the public punishment of Fire Fist Ace will be abolished. That from now on, their Marine headquarters and world government became a joke. When Garp heard this, he could only be helplessly silent. He also knows these things. But the inner uneasiness grew stronger. Ren's crazy idea of changing the world, combined with the strength shown today. It has become the enemy of the world government. And the Allies may not be satisfied yet. When the man was on the phone. It's about disrupting the world. At one point, he was even crazy enough to pull him and Sengoku into the gang. But now 5 elders has made a decision. They really couldn't deal with the Allies. I just hope after taking Whitebeard, can curb this rapid development of the Allies. Report, Impel Down Sea found traces of the Straw Hat Boy, has been arrested by Director Magellan. Suddenly a Marine walked in and reported. What? Garp was immediately stunned. The other generals also looked quite strange. What's the situation? Sengoku asked quickly, but some were afraid to look Garp in the eyes. Let's be honest. At this point, Sengoku would rather impel down and not catch the Straw Hat Luffy. Sengoku already knew. Ace was raised by Garp over the years. He treats Ace like a grandson. Now there is a public execution of the Fire Fist Ace. This has touched Garp's sensitive nerves. Sengoku even found missions to go out on several occasions. I want Garp to miss this war. But Garp refused. He was, in addition to being a grandfather, still a Marine. No matter what the outcome of Ace is. He's the one who raised Ace. All are obliged to watch on the spot. But now why is the Straw Hat Kid also caught? Sengoku's head is huge. Isn't that pushing the Garp guy to a corner? If both grandsons are arrested, can Garp still control his emotions? Marshal Sengoku was very skeptical. Straw Hat Luffy rowed a small boat, intending to break into Impel Down, as if to fight the Fire Fist Ace, but when he was on the periphery, he was discovered by the monitored warship, and a battle broke out between the 2 sides, and the Straw Hat Kid destroyed 2 warships and was taken down by Director Magellan. Marine elaborated. Is it so reckless? Is the Straw Hat Kid an idiot? Impel Down is in the Calm Belt. Horde heavy troops at the moment. Even the Whitebeard pirates would not choose such a place to start a war. One is that Whitebeard isn't sure if Ace is actually locked up here. I didn't see Ace in front of him. They will not act rashly, so as not to be ambushed by Marine. The second is the Calm Belt for any vessel. Are very dangerous. It is a natural cemetery. But the Straw Hat Boy is so reckless. Dare to break into Impel Down with a small boat. What about his brains? Have a brain. If only he could succeed. That Impel Down guards can commit mass suicide. Magellan asked for instructions on how to deal with it. Ahem. Then leave it closed first. Sengoku coughed slightly embarrassedly. Garp is still here. What can he do with it? Yes. Luffy, you idiot. Even if Garp is optimistic, Luffy has been seen on the news many times. It's just a laugh. He was reprimanded by Marine headquarters. He never took it to heart himself. But now Luffy is indeed arrested. In addition, the pirate Emperor Boa Hancock is about to arrive at Marine headquarters. Well, got it, sister, what's wrong with you? At the moment, close to the Sea of Marineford. Perfume on the Snake. Sandersonia and Mary Groot's two younger sisters looked at their sister who suddenly fell ill. All of a sudden, I panicked. This state goes to the war against Whitebeard. It's too dangerous. If they couldn't, they withdrew to Nine Snakes Island. Fortify the island. Even if Marine wants to trouble them, it won't be so easy. Originally, Hancock resolutely ignored the summoning order from Marine's headquarters. But in the end, my mother-in-law was enlightened many times yesterday. As well as seeing the tough attitude of Marine headquarters. Hancock agreed. She just has a hard mouth. In fact, she still didn't risk the entire kingdom. Anyway, with her strength in any war, as long as it is not the object being targeted, you can survive with ease. The reason why she didn't want to say yes was that she didn't want to. Just plain dislike of Marine and world government. While they were out at sea, they met the Straw Hat Boy who came to them and asked for a boat. Hancock taught him a hard lesson. But after discovering the Straw Hat Boy's tenacious will to save his brother, the two sisters showed great compassion, sent a boat to Straw Hat Luffy, and drive him out of Nine Snakes Island. Then they personally sent their sister to the sea. Marine's ship, after all, where to have their own comfort. Unexpectedly, when I was about to arrive at Marine headquarters, my sister suddenly fell ill. The whole person is like a high fever. Consciousness gradually became unclear, just lying on the boat, wheezing in pain. Ship doctor, what's wrong with my sister? Sandersonia asked nervously. I don't know, I can't find out, there seems to be no problem with the physical examination, said a beautiful female doctor with her head down. Are you blind? My sister is in so much pain, how can it be okay? Sandersonia couldn't help but scold. What now? Mary Groot also looked sad. If it really doesn't work, let's turn around and go back to Nine Snake Island first. Lord Sandersonia, something big has happened at sea. 4 Emperors Kaido was knocked down by the Allies. Suddenly a female warrior ran in with a newspaper in a panic. What's the noise? Didn't you see that my sister is sick? Be quiet, if only usually. Such big news. They also pay attention and analyze. But now there is no such mind. My sister is sick and affected at the moment. I'm sorry, the female warrior hurriedly said in panic. But wasn't Lord Snake okay not long ago? Hey, Sister Sama, why did you sit up? Just finished scolding the female warrior. Sandersonia suddenly noticed that her sister had sat up. Quite refreshed, but just now she couldn't even get up by herself. Sister, you are not well yet, lie down and rest. Mary Groot said quickly. With that, he helped Hancock lie down and rest. But Hancock just shook his head. Extremely weakly, he said to the soldier who rushed in, I will take the news report just now. Quote. She had just faintly heard the Allies. Allies, that's the man's organization. Since the Victory incident, within a few days of returning to Nine Snakes Island, Hancock's mind was full of the man's shadow. Think of celestial dragons as ants. Let the world aristocracy lick on their knees. The feared Buster Call is like a joke. So the great posture, he is still known as the God Slayer. She loves the title, because it lives up to its name. So handsome. Hancock took over the news report. The complexion gradually changed from an unhealthy state. Recover quickly at a speed visible to the naked eye. Even unsteady breathing. It also gradually calmed down. It was as if she wasn't sick at all. The two sisters looked at each other. This depends on the news report, is there a face first? Since returning from Victoria Island, my sister seemed to have gotten a little wrong. Now it seems to be more serious. Down with 4 Emperors Kaido, bounty of 5 billion Baileys. They approached curiously. I was immediately shocked by the contents of the newspaper. Hancock heard this. Before taking your eyes off the photo. It looks like what's in the newspaper. He must be a god sent from heaven. Destined to change the world. Hancock muttered. Sister, your body. I don't know why, but I seem to be fine. The two younger sisters looked confused. Is it really okay like that? It's also amazing. Is it the charm of this newspaper? Or maybe it was the reason for the man in the newspaper. They don't know when to return to Nine Snake Island and ask Granny why. Countless powerful people around the world are crazy about this bounty of 5 billion Baileys. Many bounty hunters in New World have formed an assassination alliance. Although Ren banned Kaido, but for a short time, there is still no feeling that he is stronger than Kaido. After all, Kaido has been building up its power for a long time. Some even speculate that Ren used despicable means to win. Let them go on them. These are bounty hunters who get carried away by high bounties and justify themselves. Some even think that Ren just brought down Kaido. It must be a big injury. This is a good opportunity for them to attack. Many pirates and bounty hunters have left for Wano-kuni. It's stormy outside. Wano-kuni hasn't completely calmed down yet. In a Kiriv airboat, Ren poured a cup of black tea for the two guests present. Jabba didn't speak, just picked up her teacup. Taste it slowly. The shipping king Umid is a little restless, being on someone else's territory. Small lives are between the thoughts of others. Ren didn't rush to speak. It was Jabba who found something for herself. Instead of looking for Jabba yourself. So also calmly drank tea. It was quiet for a few minutes. Umid felt more and more pressure. Even the sound of the heartbeat was not arguing. But the two still did not speak. It wasn't until Jabba finished drinking the tea in his hand that he spoke. You are different from most people. Other people will take the initiative to talk to me the first time when they meet me. Do you know why? I don't know. Their first words will always be, Jabba, do you know where Raftel is? Tell me quickly. It's abrupt, but it's reasonable. Ren was stunned for a moment. But when you think about it, it actually makes sense. Yes, it's reasonable, so you who don't ask this question are different from them. Jabba suddenly looked straight at Ren. You didn't go to sea to become One Piece. Then asked in a calm voice, and his eyes instantly became aggressive. No, I'm not interested in becoming One Piece. Ren said truthfully. This surprised Umid. Pirates all over the world. Basically, they all go to sea around the big secret treasure left by Roger. Even these underground giants who have not been rewarded. Once you have the opportunity to get the big secret treasure, there will be no hesitation. That's the secret treasure that symbolizes everything. Get it, and you get everything in the world. Who wouldn't want to have this kind of thing? Who isn't curious about what that is? Not many people can resist. For the sake of the great secret treasure, these years ago servants followed. Countless people died, and this such ambitious, crazy young man in front of him. But bluntly confessed that he had no interest in the great secret treasure. But if you're not interested, then understand why he met Jabba, a former member of the pirates. But I didn't ask where Raftel was. Why, you have so many troops, don't you gamble? Jabba asked. Whether there is really a secret treasure that owns the world, or the power to change the world, I don't need it. What I want, I already have. Quote. Ren said calmly. What is that? Only the people of the Roger pirates know. And judging by the performance of the later Rayleigh, Redheads and them, they clearly have a plan. The location of Rayleigh is fantastic. All pirates must go to New World. It was as if he was waiting or screening pirates. The Redhead also struggled to grab rubber fruit. Maybe it's to find a good owner for it. After all, Redheads themselves have little interest in becoming capable. Now Jabba is back in New World. From Aqua Star Island. This is the closest place to Raftel. This is a coincidence. And not some kind of arrangement. Ren was the first to not believe. Maybe Roger is dead, but what Roger wants to do is not yet. 220. These crew members continue to faithfully carry out their duties. They want to make kings. Ren had no interest in being their king. Own with a red alert system. There is no need to get any big secret treasures at all. As long as it continues to develop step by step, the whole world will be changed by him. Even if someone gets the big secret treasure. But as long as you don't make enemies of yourself. That doesn't matter. Who is the enemy of himself? Blaster Crush. Don't you even know what's on Raftel that you're so confident in your own strength? Even Aunt Kaido wanted to see the island. Jabba said with a smile. He had never met someone as confident as Ren. No, it cannot be said that there is no at all. Whitebeard is half. As for why not the whole, it's because Whitebeard knows what's on it. He just chose not to go. Ren, on the other hand, is completely unaware. But also chose not to go. My destiny is not on your line, my enemies are within reach, and in my life, I will try to win every war possible. Ren's eyes burned. What do you want to do? Jabba asked curiously. Do you want to know? Ren suddenly said strangely. Will it be dangerous? Nope. Ren opened his eyes and spoke nonsense. Forget it. Jabba always had an instinct. The man wanted to pull him into the water. Just no evidence. Even he didn't know what the other party was going to do. I heard you killed the celestial dragons. Jabba continued. That's the biggest reason why he's here. Well, kill, Ren said, pouring herself another cup of black tea. It's so calm. Umed is somewhat unimaginable. How can there be people in this world who kill the nobles of the world and still disapprove of it? Are you really afraid that the world government will free up its hand to deal with him? You know, the attack on celestial dragons is not uneventful. But every attacker, the end was particularly miserable. That's why people are so afraid of celestial dragons. Is it an enemy? No, it's easy. Quote, smooth. Umed was stunned for a moment. Celestial dragons, this thing can be easily killed. Do you think it's an ant on the side of the road? Jabba was also stunned by this answer. It was a surprise. No grudge against the celestial dragons. No friends being bullied. Haven't been bullied yourself. Killed the celestial dragons. Do you just think you can't get used to what celestial dragons are doing? You don't want to pull the celestial dragons off the horse. Jabba thought about it and suddenly understood something. It's really important to be careful when communicating with smart people. Ren didn't deny it. Are you serious? Jabba's eyes narrowed slightly. To deny is to admit. It's not hard to guess. With such a powerful force. Either to become one piece. Either in order to dominate one side and be a free Earth Emperor. Either to take revenge on some powerful force. Or maybe you want to conquer and change the world. The first point, Ren has admitted that it is not. Second, with this guy's mind and strength. If only to be an Earth Emperor. There is no conflict with Kaido. Pick a few countries to win. Isn't it easier? As for revenge, he actually feels a bit like it. But in the end, it turned out that it was not strong. Then all that remains is to change the world. And the one who is easy to do is to see the righteousness. It is enough to prove that he does not recognize the current order. If recognized, he wouldn't have slaughtered the celestial dragons for something handy. But Jabba didn't feel that Ren was not self-sufficient. Even if it is the conquest of the world. Far from bringing down 1 or 2 4 emperors. It's not comparable to killing a few celestial dragons. Usually even 4 emperors say this. In the eyes of the world government. It's also somewhat ridiculous. 4 emperors is entrenched on one side, and it is okay to be the hegemon of one side. But to ban the entire world government. That's harder than killing all the 4 emperors. Because world government has a lot of heritage. At Marine headquarters alone, the 4 emperors can compete with Garp, Sengoku, 3 Marine Admiral, and retired Marine Admiral. Although Marine headquarters is the largest department, the strongest ones are the most numerous. But in other departments, even if the number of strong people is not so much, gather a few more such strong people to come out. It can be done too. This force is united. 4 emperors can take it down. It's a hard road, Jabba said truthfully. Everyone wants to take an easy path, but sometimes life doesn't allow it. You don't come for this. Ren single-handedly went straight to the road. He didn't believe Jabba had only come because he was curious why he had killed the celestial dragons. Let me tell you some historical truth about Raftel. What? Umid Ren looked at Jabba in shock. This is also too abrupt. This is very exciting news. Jabba, didn't you say you didn't know any intelligence about Raftel at all? You've been lying to us for so many years. Umid looked at Jabba in disbelief. If it weren't for the fast running all these years, do you guess those old guys would have arrested me and tortured me to extract a confession? They admitted my lies, just wanted me to let down my guard. Jabba said lightly. I said, I'm not interested in Raftel's secret treasure. Ren didn't know why Jabba did it at first. But think about it. His attitude came after learning that his conflict with the celestial dragons had changed. Could it be that kill the celestial dragons, or be an enemy of the celestial dragons? Is it a ticket to learn a secret? The more Ren thought about it, the more it was possible. Luffy was at odds with the celestial dragons. Rayleigh, who was present, also stepped in to help them. I know, but since you want to be their enemy, you must know who they are. There's this truth on Raftel. Am I not fit to stay here? Umit said very incomprehensibly. It always feels like I know some secrets. Will put yourself in danger. But Ren isn't that taboo. Anyway, it doesn't matter who is behind the world government. Even what creatures. What he has to do will not change in any way. Jabba is only picking part of it. It's impossible to tell yourself it all. After all, both sides are not familiar. Even if there is the pass of God's slaughter. It's impossible to keep Jabba knowing. You choose for yourself, and when you know something, it can be really dangerous. Jabba left Umet to choose. Umet struggled. The secret the world wants to know is right in front of us. It can make countless giant monsters flock to it. It's really in sight. Umet found himself a little frightened. But the last bite to bite. He stayed. Such an opportunity is missed. Maybe I won't have a chance to know in my lifetime. He didn't want to be filled with regrets later in life. Watch Umit stay. Look at his uneasy look. Jabba and Ren were originally relatively calm. They all looked at him speechlessly. It is also one of the underground giants. How so timid? If Jabba wasn't familiar with him. I've known each other for years. Know that he can't be a puppet of the world government. Jabba wouldn't let him stay. Jabba looked up at Ren. The scene quieted down a little. Have you seen the real side of this world? Jabba asked directly. It seemed to be afraid that Ren would not be able to understand what he was going to say later. So start with some concepts. It's like a person who doesn't understand numbers. It is not possible to add, subtract, multiply and divide. Jabba first had to confirm that Ren was a number-savvy person. Decay, chaos, death. Ren evaluates the world he's seen. Jabba beamed in satisfaction. This world is originally dominated by the world government, which ruler would want the world under his rule to be chaotic? Especially the most controversial one, heavenly gold. Throughout the sea, many countries have to choose the means of war because of the high amount of heavenly gold. Do you think those old guys in the world government can't see the results of heavenly gold? This kind of thing is by no means small scale and individual, they can't not know zero. Ren replied. That's right, but they don't even have any stopping measures, because such an outcome is what they want. No, this is impossible. Who will disturb the world under their rule? Umet finds this contradictory. It's like putting a thief in your own treasury. It doesn't make sense at all. What's in it for them? Ren thought about it. There is only one possibility. When the benefits outweigh the disadvantages, everything absurd becomes possible. Jabba was stunned. She didn't expect Ren to think so quickly. This saves him time to explain. It's the Umet guy on the contrary. Look at the problem very simply. Because they are not human. Jabba stared straight at the two and said. What? With this sentence alone, Umet felt his hair stand up. Like a cat fried. In an instant, I only felt cold sweat. Ren was slightly surprised, though. But he thought about many possibilities. This kind of possibility is also in it. How is this possible? How can the real power who has ruled the world for so many years not be people? Whether it's giants, orcs, villains, long-handed people, fishmen. These are classified as a race of people. For a long time, the world has believed that the world's aristocracy is the noblest human being. The image of them appearing in front of people is also human. How can it suddenly not be human? This is something that has turned the world upside down for years. I'm not talking about people, including intelligent creatures that are not all that exists, nor do I mean that they are a rare race, I mean that they simply should not exist in this world. They are a hotbed of death and chaos, in which they draw on the life of all living beings in the whole world for eternal life. As far as our current master history is concerned, 5 elders has lived from ancient times to the present day. And behind the 5 elders, there is an invisible shadow that controls everything about them. The more chaotic the world is, the more frequent the killings, the more they rejoice, and of course, whenever things go beyond a certain boundary, they intervene. Enemies of them, all living beings will be seduced and reduced to puppets walking on the edge of death and madness. Jabba's face was heavy. The whole world for those guys. It's like a playground. Life is nothing more than something they manipulate at will. So, aren't they going to die? Umet asked with a trepidation. The way to kill them completely is in Raftel, only the captain knew it. I really didn't know this, only the ability to listen to everything can perceive the truth of everything in the world. I don't have the ability. So if you want to overthrow the world government, Raftel, I'm afraid you'll have to go. Jabba said, slowly, you just said, so those who are enemies with them will be deceived and become puppets. Ren didn't believe it all. Because Jabba's words are suspected of deliberately leading him to Raftel. Yes, what's the problem? Jabba nodded affirmatively. Nope, if only this ability were concerned. That doesn't seem to be much of an ability. Your own mind controller can do it. Even their abilities seem to be of little use to their own core. What death accompanies you? Have your own self-detonator die fast. Still want to seduce your own people. Ren to his own soldiers. Has absolute power to live and kill. Why do you seem to be relieved instead? Jabba keenly noticed that Ren mindset seemed to be easier. What the hell is this? Didn't you see that Umit was now terrified and full of fear? This is what a normal person should behave. When he learned the truth, he was similar to Umit. After all, what he said is something that subverts the perception of common sense. Yes, quote, illusion, you go on. They have a usable ancient weapon, right in the Holy Land. Legendary weapon that sinks an island with one shot, Umit said in a deep voice. This has been heard in New World giants with similar rumors. Oh, as that, your own nuclear missiles can be even more exaggerated. In this way, how do you feel that this 5 elders is quite average? In addition to the mystery of origin. Listen to Ren. Jabba and Umit suddenly reacted. Yes, you pervert has almost similar means. But they may be more terrifying than that cannonball of yours. Jabba didn't want to see Ren, the God Slayer, despise the 5 elders. So it is. Ren nodded on the surface, but his heart was very average. His nuclear missiles couldn't be stronger. There are hundreds or thousands of more laboratories. Under existing nuclear missiles. Increase the equivalent a bit, no problem. And, listen to Ren's expectant words. Jabba suddenly didn't want to say anything. He didn't seem to take it seriously. No wonder. Ren imagined world government even more. Jabba said. Ren suddenly felt she could do 5 elders now. In short, be careful. Jabba wanted to say more, though. But it was a big risk to tell him that for now. Because the God Slayer is destined to die with the world government. Even if you know the secret, it's the same as being hunted down. Otherwise this secret Jabba wouldn't usually tell anyone. That's hurting him. 5 elders absorb everything in this world like Shinigami. But they are equally afraid of one day being exposed. Thus causing a siege by all humanity. Human potential is too terrifying. There are always strong people born from it. There are even more prophecies that they are destined to be overthrown. 5 elders are not all-knowing and omnipotent after all. Even if they live for many years. There's one thing I don't quite understand. Ren didn't fully believe Jabba. After all, the two do not have a particularly deep friendship. But there should be real ingredients in it. But think about it carefully. Ren found that some places were not right. Where is it not understood? If the world government is attached to chaos, why did Roger set off the era of sea thieves? Ren felt strange. In the era of the sea thief, the chaos brought by it is obvious. Your Excellency, Ren is really thoughtful. Jabba looked at Ren in surprise. Truth be told, people who usually know the true face of world government, no matter how brilliant the strong, it will definitely be shocked in a short time. Loss of a certain ability to think rationally. But Ren is clearly younger than anyone else. But it was hardly affected in the slightest. This psychological quality. Rare in the world. Such a God Slayer, maybe he can really realize the captain's dream. As soon as these words came out, Umit also reacted. Subconsciously looked towards Jabba. The era of the sea thief is a double-edged sword. Jabba said with a sigh. If it's all chaos, the chaos created by the world government, it's all they can do, and in that case, all we can do is smash the plates and let the chaos go beyond their control. Our captain firmly believes that the continuation of will and dreams will never be extinguished. Only in this way can there be more strong people among the human race. Ren listened. Instantly think of a person with great courage. In the great shadow of the confrontation against the world government. Struggling to move forward. Finally, find the bright spot in human nature. Even if this flashlight point, it contains the depraved and greedy side of human nature. But there are also pure yearners of freedom. Roger single-handedly created an era of chaos that could compete with the world government. just to let mankind give birth to more strong people. Hope under this ideological frenzy. One day a strong man who can fight the world government can come out of it. Extraordinary, Ren lamented. Of course, that's our captain, Jabba said with nostalgia and pride. That's all I can tell you. If you want to know more, you can come to Shueishan Star Island to find me when you have time. Jabba felt that it would not be possible to have such a qualified god slayer in many years. If Ren wants Raftal's treasure, he'll help. He was very optimistic about this young man. Just like the redhead is optimistic about the child. Look again, Ren said ambiguously. The secret that Jabba arrives with is truly amazing. Also make it clear to him. The thing that the world government fears most. That is, as prophesied, overthrown by some. But Ren has his own business to do. He believes in the help of the system. Even without Raftal's great treasure, you can still fight the world. Now Wano Kuni wins. And it has accepted so many strong people. He had to absorb this power. Sounds like Ren, since the top echelons of the world government are also afraid of humanity. Then blow up a little more yourself. Let the forces be as large as the entire world's population. And all the soldiers are of the same will. It should be the world government that suffers. So for Ren, know the truth, he doesn't feel desperate. Instead, I feel that I have a few more chances of winning. The shipping king Umit did not think so. He regretted knowing these things. Once the world government knows its secret is known, we'll definitely send someone to hunt down and kill himself. And the intensity will not be small. The three chatted a little more. Umit was absent-minded the whole time. It's about the same time Jabba took his leave. Ren didn't hold on much. After sending off Jabba and Umit, came to the capital of flowers. It's time to announce the belonging of Wano Kuni and the fate of the captives. At this moment, near the flower capital square, there are crowds of people. Many people looked at the Kurozumi serpent who was held on the execution table and cursed angrily. There is extreme madness on everyone's face. Rotten eggs, rotten vegetable leaves, stones, and blades are all constantly smashing on Kurozumi snakes. If it weren't for the presence of the allies, I'm afraid that the Kurozumi serpent has long been torn to pieces by the angry crowd at this moment. What Kurozumi has done over the years. People and gods are indignant. He is a complete tyrant and maniac. He rules the country. Only for revenge, only to torture the entire people of Wano Kuni. He used despicable means to calculate Kazuki Oden. They agreed to open toxic factories throughout Wano Kuni. Moody, murderous. The number of sins committed is too numerous to mention. His mentality is pervert and also broken. The Kurozumi serpent trembled with fear. But the eyes are also full of viciousness. I thought fiercely inside. Wait for yourself to get out of trouble again. If you have a chance, be sure to kill them all. These lowly fellows dared to humiliate themselves like this in public. Originally, he was pretending to be dead. But when he saw the soldier holding seastone handcuffs and preparing to put them on him, he hurriedly activated his abilities and came to life. If you don't come back to life for that moment, if the ability fails, the head of the other person is separated, and it is really dead. But now these people are angry in front of them. He was also afraid. There was even a good idea that it was not as good as dying just now. At least not to suffer these shames now. Shaozi, it's Shaozi, and the mad dead man, help me. Kurozumi's serpent suddenly appeared in the crowd in front of him. Seeing two familiar figures, he hurriedly asked for help. But the voice fell. The two did not move at all. Just staring at him with icy eyes that had never been seen before. All along, Kazuki Hiyori has been trying to use his little strength to deal with those guys who are not rich and insensitive in the city. He often forced a smile in front of this murderous father's enemy. Play his father's favorite tunes for him. How many times, she couldn't help but cry, her heart twisted like a knife. But that was the only way she could help the country. What are you still stunned about, mad dead? And Shaozi, I usually don't mean to you, with your posture, there is no man to resist, as long as you want to. The more Kurozumi spoke, the more crazy he became. As long as you survive. He can even let himself, the woman he once loved the most, accompany other men. Of course, this kind of love is only his self-righteous love. Shut up. Mad Dead Lang directly interrupted Kurozumi's serpent in anger. Kurozumi Serpent was deterred by the crazy killing intent in the eyes of the Mad Dead Man. Mad Death Lang is the second person in the 9 sheaths. Its strength is extremely terrifying. It's just that the monster Kaido has been pressing on top of their heads before. They have no chance of winning. As for Kurozumi Snake, he doesn't know how many times he can kill him. But Kaido doesn't die, and killing Kurozumi Serpent will only make things worse. Reprisals will cause more suffering for the people of Wano-kuni. That's why he has been stoic. But now there is no need to endure. Mad Dead, you. Kurozumi looked at him in disbelief. A dog leg who usually obeys his own words. How dare to drink him like this? Don't call this disgusting name. My real name is Denjiro, Kazuki Oden's retainer. When Denjiro said his name, he said it word by word. What? Hearing this name, the people around were in a commotion. As a Wano-kuni people, how is it possible not to know the famous Denjiro? One of the souls of the 9 sheaths under Kazuki Oden. As the 9 sheaths back, did Lord Oden's old ministry always be alive? They have been silently helping the country in the dark. We shouldn't have rushed to Kaido to settle accounts in the first place. It's too self-sufficient. If it weren't for Mr. Denjiro's offer to let us forgive our sins as mind slaves, we would have been executed by the tyrant of Kurozumi Serpent. Some people know that Denjiro and these retainers are still alive. And Kurozumi Orochi stared at Denjiro with an angry look of disbelief. How is this possible? How could you be Kazuki Remnant? Kurozumi's ugly head was all crumbling at the moment. He screamed and stared at Denjiro. He couldn't believe it. Kazuki Oden's retainers, who defended themselves day and night. He has always been by his side. Then is she also the remnant of Kazuki? Kurozumi suddenly realized something. His eyes fell on Kazuki Hiyori's identity. She is the biological blood of Lord Kazuki Oden. It's called Kazuki Hiyori. Denjiro scolded angrily. This sentence set off a shocking wave in the crowd. The bloodline of the Kazuki family is back. Great. Lord Oden is not dead. And Kazuki's bloodline lives in this world. Great. Sure enough, I met Mrs. Shi many years ago. At this moment, many people in the flower capital were restless. Everyone's spirits were lifted. It's like a chicken blood. They remembered that Kazuki Oden had been freed hostages held by Kurozumi Serpent. Day after day dancing like a funny clown. After the horrific punishment of cooking in a kettle. All those associated with Kazuki Oden were then hunted down. They also heard about the Oden Castle tragedy. The flames burned everything. I thought that Kazuki Oden was dead. I didn't expect that there would be offspring alive. This is not the folk rumor. Say what 20 years will return. It's the blood that really lives. They are happy from the heart. Their loyalty, after many tests years ago, it's been very determined. Because they thought Oden was crazy. Became His Highness a fool. It was used unscrupulously by Kurozumi Snake. Finally everyone understands. Everything Lord Oden did, it's all guarding them. Interesting. Ren was going straight down. But look at this scene. On the contrary, he is not in a hurry. These people are in Kazuki's bloodline. I have already subconsciously cultivated a heart of worship. But more importantly, Ren wanted to see what Kazuki Hiyori would do. Kurozumi Serpent, you can leave it to them at their disposal later. Ren picked up the black tea and looked leisurely at the screen. Such a high level of loyalty. And there are many strong people who follow Kazuki Hiyori. These are great resources. Impossible. No way. When pigs fly, Oden Castle should all be dead in the reckoning that night. How can there still be Kazuki's bloodline alive? Thinking of Oden, Kurozumi can't help but tremble and scream. That man, great and powerful. When he was there. Kurozumi Snake always feels ridiculous like a clown. Lord Ren said you can deal with Kurozumi Snake with full control. At this time, a senior commander walked up to Hiyori and the others and said. Denjiro had subconsciously put his hand on his weapon. Although he knew that his identity was revealed at such a time. It will attract the attention of the leaders of the allied forces. But in the same way, the people of Wano-kuni can also know. And Oden bloodline is alive. Once the allies want to bully them again. There are days and presents, as long as their spirits are not enslaved. It's always possible to wait for an opportunity. Just like this incident. They waited until Kaido and Kurozumi Yamato fell. So Denjiro will do his best to protect Hinoa's safety. Hiyori now gathers many former subordinates. But Denjiro didn't expect it. The other party is so tolerant and agrees. Leave the Kurozumi serpent directly to them. This is beyond expectations. At present, it seems that the other party is sending a friendly signal. Every moment of every day I think of you dying, Kazuki Hiyori said as he resisted tears of revenge. She walked towards Kurozumi snake step by step. There is a strong hatred in the eyes. Both of her parents died at the hands of Kurozumi serpent. How can there be no hate? Don't you come over. Kurozumi snake no longer thinks how beautiful this first beauty is. At the moment, only endless fear swept through the body. He was so scared that an urine. With what he did to Wano-kuni, to Odin. Odin's bloodline, even if he is swallowed alive, it is possible. How could he not be afraid? Princess Hayo, you don't have to do it yourself. Denjiro whispered. Kurozumi snake, they would never let him live. The leaders of the allied forces also seemed to see through this. Only then did they give them the power of life and death. I know it's not necessary, but I don't want to miss this opportunity. The weak Princess Rihei is very firm at the moment. Kurozumi wanted to struggle back, but he was firmly handcuffed by Seastone. He looked at Kazuki Hiyori with horror on his face. He opened his mouth, wanting to ask for mercy. You can touch Hyochi's eyes. He knew that it was useless to beg for mercy. You Kazuki remnants, why is it always haunted? Hateful, Kurozumi shouted as the serpent collapsed. Hiyori took the gun handed over by the soldier next to him. Walk up to Kurozumi's serpent. Condescending, the muzzle of the gun is against the forehead of the Kurozumi serpent. He was cold and hard to move. Death crisis hits. If the ability is imprisoned, if the head is exploded, it will be completely dead. No, don't, Hayo, you see I usually treat you too. Kurozumi finally tried to play the emotion card. But don't say it's okay, when you talk about Hiwa, I only feel sick to my stomach. Thinking of the usual strong smile, the murderous opportunity is even worse. At this time, the square fell silent, looking at Hiyori's back. It's like watching a round of rewards. Bang, the gunshot rang out, and Hiyori decisively pulled the trigger. The bullet pierced the head of Kurozumi's serpent. Blood splattered and stained Hinawa's hands and clothes red. Day and first kill, especially such a close kill. But she didn't feel flustered. Summer just calm. Blood debt feels so good. She thanked the man for giving her this opportunity. It looks a little different from the weakness I remember, more decisive than I thought, not bad. Ren watched with relish. Lord Ren, there is a heavy great breakthrough. We just escorted Kaido's body into the laboratory for research and analysis, and found that there are obvious traces of artificial genes on Kaido's body. This means that he has a strong track record, and we can perfectly extract the full power of Kaido. A senior engineer suddenly sent good news. What? Ren was a little uneasy. Perfectly extract Kaido's ability. What does perfection stand for? Represents Kaido's physique, ability, and vitality. The Genetic Research Center can be perfectly reproduced. It was definitely a surprise that Ren didn't even expect. You know, after he took Dressrosa earlier, genetic research has also been conducted. Especially for those with fruit ability. But because the Allies had a deep study of self-detonators, the first genetic factors developed. It is a popping fruit gene. Others, like Doflamingo's string fruit, were in the short time of Mingo's death. I immediately conducted research, but nothing, and the longer people die, the fainter the traces of devil fruit's existence. At present, he is constantly investing in soul ore research. But the results have been modest. So Ren killed Kaido just now. It wasn't even sent to the Genetic Research Institute in the first place. It's about continuing to deal with the giants. Only after disposing of it will people get the body back for study. I thought I could develop it. Can't an okay mentality. Unexpectedly, this research has just begun. There is such a huge gain. This is equivalent to within the Allied forces. Immediately there will be one more, 4 emperors, level powerhouse. Go to the lab. Ren teleported the space back to the lab. Also in the territory of Wano-kuni. It was built on site. Of course, the researchers were teleported from Dressrosa. These were the first engineers. The laboratory comes with it after successful construction. They followed Ren from the beginning. At the time of Dressrosa's harvest of Mingo's estate, many research materials were found in the Smile factory. Ren let them absorb and learn. Their abilities can be improved. With a flash of silver, Ren came to the lab. The laboratory is spacious and bright. There are many containers filled with green liquid. Each container contained a corpse. Kaido, Ember, Quinn. At the moment, Kaido's container is surrounded by many engineers. As soon as Ren arrived, the engineers automatically give way. Lord Ren, a ghost-like researcher approached. It's Caesar Kerrang. After the Dressrosa event, many of Mingo's external forces were swallowed up by Ren. And Caesar Courant was the one who surrendered the fastest. Ren saw that he had some ability. After brainwashing with a mind controller thrown into the lab, Caesar's guy is also very servile. After being mind controlled, every time I see Ren, I always look flattering. Can Kaido's genes really be extracted perfectly? Ren inquired. Yes, just now we found that Kaido's body has traces of genetic modification, and we have restored it from the microscopic to the whole along with this trace, and we can extract it now. But because the devil fruit factor in it is unique, it cannot be responsible again, only the only one. After extraction, can you continue to develop powerful warriors based on Kaido's body? Ren asked. It can fully extract the full range of Kaido's capabilities. It has far exceeded Ren expectations. Even if it's only one copy. It's also a huge windfall. Yes, but how much powerful gene fluid can be developed, it is not certain for the time being, and the devil fruit factor has gradually become unstable, whether to extract it first. Extraction. Gollum, the green liquid boiled, and Kaido's abilities and genetic factors evaporated along the boiling liquid. Evaporated and purified gene fluid. Only a small bottle. But absolutely clean and hygienic. This is concentrated energy. In addition, there are some genetic components in it, which are related to the energy of the sea or similar to the sea, and there is a rejection reaction, and you can choose to remove this part of the gene fluid. Do you want to remove it? Remove. Of course, this is not to be thought about, although it is afraid of the weakness of seawater and seastone. Putting Ren is not a weakness. After all, he has all kinds of weapons and iron curtain devices. Even if you fall into the sea, you can be safe. But the weaknesses that can be removed are naturally to be removed. That's right, this bottle contains all of Kaido's genetic enhancement fluid. He plans to use it himself. Because after squeezing Kaido, there is only one bottle. It's not that he doesn't trust others. It's not that you want to be a reckless man who charges yourself. Instead, he previously fought Kaido. Face off with the giants again. Ren understood a little. Their own forces are against one or even 4 emperors strong. It is possible to fight continuously until they are consumed. But these strong people are not stupid. After realizing the problem, there must be a decapitation operation against himself. And many important wars. Ren, in order to build various military buildings in place, must be there. This gives the enemy the opportunity to kill himself. Take Kaido's pounce at that time. When he was alone, he could naturally defend himself with an iron curtain. But if it's 4 emperors strong, or even more, after all, it is impossible for every strong person to fight on his own. They constantly alternate with attacks. Once your own mind is slightly distracted, the iron curtain could not be reconnected in time. That's dangerous. Their strength to kill themselves, it is easy. In addition, while sleeping, there is also the possibility of being assassinated. Some assassins with special abilities comparable to 4 emperors. Ren guesses that CPO has such people. Once touched in your room. With your current strength, can you react? If it weren't for that, Ren wouldn't have just said to let Akoku Silver Axe go. Once chosen to do it to them, they joined forces. Ren wasn't sure, and starting today, their entire allied forces gradually moved from the shadows to all the forces. And the stronger the strength, the faster the reaction speed is natural. It can be even more at the moment when they think they must kill themselves. Give them unimaginable attacks. The enemy thought he was a sheep. When it comes to killing, only to find out that he is an evil dragon. Such a surprise attack, it must be very effective. It can even rewrite the outcome of a war. Personal strength has always been a shortcoming of Ren. But now that shortcoming will no longer exist. Gollum. Ren opened the bottle of gene liquid and drank it. Just for a moment, Ren felt like every cell of his was burning. It is as if you were in a high-temperature furnace and have been tempered repeatedly. Every cell gets stronger. Cyrus, Caesar and the others looked at Ren nervously. They watch with bated breath. Can it really fully reproduce Kaido's strength? They are not very convinced. Even Caesar was involved in the project. But not much was involved. If you can, that's heaven-defying. Because in addition to Kaido's genes can be refined, Ember and Quinn are fine, too. They have also been caught by the Marine Science Department for research and transformation. Needless to say, Quinn and Caesar had been colleagues and had worked under Vegapunk. It has long been transformed to not look like a normal creature. This particular race of embers has also been subjected to endurance experiments by Marine. Genetic traces, quite obvious. This is equivalent to completely reproducing the high-end combat power of Beast's pirates. This is absolutely magical genetic technology. Ren felt terrifying energy all over her body. It's as if you can smash a mountain with a single hand and foot. Is this the power that Kaido has? It's really powerful. Ren couldn't help but sigh. There was black lightning running around his body. Terrifying flames erupted from the pores. Just clenched his fist, and a sonic boom exploded. Many memories of Haki and combat skills also flooded into Ren's mind. Conqueror's Haki, deterrence, entanglement, substantial damage. Armament Haki, winding, emission. Observation Haki, exploration, foreknowledge. Physical, sticky, wonderful feeling. Blocked for 4 weeks, I'll test it. Received. Soon the neighborhood was cleared. Plumes of smoke rose from all around. Roar. Ren stands in a clearing and unleashes the fruit ability. The body immediately changed. Dragon horns, dragon scales, dragon claws, dragon bodies. Change one by one, and then hundreds of meters, majestic and domineering green dragon in the sky. This scene immediately reminded Cyrus and Caesar of the fear and oppression that Kaido brought about not long ago. Nice gesture. Ren leaned out with one paw, and a cloud of flames emerged from under his claws. Let him vacate easily. This dragon is more in line with the Ren aesthetic than the Western dragon. Dragon breath. Bad wind. Destroy the tornado. Thundered. The power unleashed is no weaker than Kaido. It is time to initially control this force. Ren isn't fully in control yet. Accuracy is much more adaptable. A question of proficiency. But this one only needs to take a little time to get used to. Then Ren transforms into a dragon man again. Contrast to Kaido's wild gesture. Ren has more show and sharpness. Thunder 8 trigrams. A mountain peak was directly smashed by Ren with a wooden stick that he had made casually. The wooden stick also smashed. Conqueror's winding. Armed color. Ren experimented with Kaido's skills one by one, until the entire mountain range was razed to the ground. Ren came out of this thrill of power. Previously, Ren's strength was evaluated as S+. But in contrast to the real strong, it is probably the degree of the star of the powerful point. Personal force has always been his shortcoming. But now after fully integrating Kaido's capabilities, Ren combat power rating has reached SSS+. The gap in its strength is a world of difference. The greater the number of strong ones, the more you can contain the strong, so that the explosive core can play a greater role. All along, Ren was a little worried about those who would be able to master Logia. After all, they cleaned up the army too quickly. If you have one, it doesn't matter. But suppose the 3 admirals unite. 3 natural disasters strike at the same time. Kill millions, or even more. It shouldn't be a difficult thing either. Even millions of people, tens of millions of people can take them or not. But now take Wano Kuni. The explosive force will at least break 100 million. Plus there is high-end combat power involved. The power that divides their union. My odds of winning are even greater. After testing, the engineer told Ren, except for Kaido, Ember and Quinn, as well as many artificial zone fruit abilities, can also extract gene fluid. This made Ren more and more satisfied. This is equivalent to the high-end combat power of the entire Beast's pirates. They were all reproduced by themselves. Even stronger. Ren intends to incorporate Quinn and Ember's gene fluid. All for the use of the strong under their command. In this way, they are already powerful. It can suddenly advance in a short time. For example, Ember's racial talent and ancient pterosaur ability. What if it was used in Gion? Gion is just a stone's throw away from Marine Admiral. This gene liquid is for her. Can you get past that? Ren doesn't know, but if he can, That would be a huge surprise. The power of New World Marine. Ren must be firmly in control. Although Guion is strong, in New World, many Marine Vice Admirals are also strong. In case of detection, capsizing in the gutter, that's not what Ren wanted to see. This is one of the reasons why Guion resorted to ambushes as much as possible to subdue Marine base. Her strength is not strong enough. If you can get to the Marine Admiral level, that's different. As for Quinn's gene fluid, it was intended for use by Cyrus. He is currently a strong man with high loyalty. His strength is not weak at the level of 3 disasters. If you add Quinn's strength, so is there also hope to reach the rank of general. Kairos, Quinn, this you use. Ren threw Quinn's gene fluid to Cyrus. Is that okay? Cyrus took the gene fluid in a panic and said flatteredly. You know, Ren didn't use mind control over him. Logically speaking, he should still be wary. But now he gives himself such a precious thing. Just now he and Caesar watched Ren exert that power. It's already shocking that it's hard to speak. Although there are still some problems with proficiency. But there's no doubt that that's the power of 4 Emperors Kaido. This Quinn was also quite scary before. Ancient breeders of ability, transforming people, can create viruses more. As a result, the Allies lost a lot of troops. This power is in hand. Cyrus is expected to take his strength further. You are the most suitable person at the moment. The other, I have other uses, powerful forces, I have to try to be controlled by strong people, in order to adapt as quickly as possible, and put into actual combat. After all, the war in Marineford is just around the corner. Ren said calmly. He never exercised mind control over a powerful man like Cyrus. In addition to getting to know him personally, I hope to become a stronger person one day with his potential. Because of mind control, although it has little effect on the human brain. But in the end, there are some implications. In case one day he needs to become that kind of strong queen. Because of this, it is impossible to move forward. That would be a shame. It's just that Ren didn't expect it. This opportunity for him to break through came so quickly. Take it, try it. Ren said with some anticipation. But Cyrus hesitated. What's wrong? That Lord Ren, the little girl is now the king of Dressrosa, but her strength is still very weak. If you allow, I want to give this to Rebecca. Cyrus said stiffly. Ren knew immediately. Sure enough, pity the hearts of parents in the world. In fact, Rebecca's strength is okay. As long as you don't compare with the 4 emperors, the emperor and the vice. The strength is not weak, and it is only 14 years old. There's a lot of room to grow. But Marineford was a crucial battle. This one for Rebecca. In less than 2 days, can you master? I'm afraid it's difficult. Otherwise, Ren would not have thought only of Cyrus and Guion. They are strong enough, and this power is in their hands. Full control over adaptation in the shortest possible time. You use it. After Rebecca, I will personally choose a good gene liquid for her. Ren insisted that Cyrus use it. After all, we now know this way to create a strong person. Next, you just need to let people go to the underground world to gather intelligence. Look at which strong people have done similar genetic modifications before. The kind that has traces to be found. When the time comes, go to the siege and take them. Take away their power. This works better than dark fruit. Body genes, hockey, physiognomy, life force. Everything can be perfectly distilled. Ren has seen an army of mighty men rising. Cooperate with the explosive legion. The win rate against the world government is a few more points. Think about facing the strong Shin. The strong people on his side, each with millions, tens of millions of troops to besiege a strong man of the same level. Waves of soldiers go up to consume. The strong make up the knife. Simply invincible. Master Xie. When Cyrus heard this, he knelt down on one knee in gratitude. Then he got up and took the gene fluid. Chapter 91. Bang. Cyrus incarnated as a Brachiosaurus warrior. The whole body is covered with thick Brachiosaurus skin and deep armament hockey. Famous knives in both hands. At this moment, he is launching a rapid attack on Ren in the posture of the Dragon Man. The speed, power, and destructive power of each blow are completely different from before. Several times more powerful. Where the sword light passed, the earth crumbled, and the forest was shattered under the sword chi. A hill is in the light of the sword. Also decapitated. The sword shadows in the sky are like beams of death. Easily chop everything that stands in your way. But he was resisted by Ren in front of him in the posture of the dragon man. Disheveled, Ren wields Kaido's mace, the 8 fasts. It's not a famous instrument, but hard enough. The moment the knives and sticks clash, terrifying energy ripples out with lightning and shockwaves. The whole land has set off a huge wave of earth and stone. The two did not move. The ground on which he stood collapsed with a bang. The wind is raging, rush with energy. No one dares to approach within 2 kilometers. That's the destruction zone. Whoosh. Cyrus, who was blocked by Ren from a swift attack, opened his mouth. Originally, it was just the flesh and blood of ancient animal species. Switch again. A laser shot straight out of his mouth towards Ren. Ren covers Conqueror's haki, suddenly pushed forward. Smash the incoming laser to pieces. Brachiosaurus bomb. Cyrus suddenly stepped forward. The legs also became Brachiosaurus thighs. Strength further increased. He wants to push Ren back. But Ren was shocked. Hold the mace with one hand. Free an arm and clench it into a fist. Lightning and flames wrapped around it. A punch blasted at Cyrus. Pong. A terrifying bang, a fist fell to the chest. Cyrus was knocked out by a punch from Ren, even though he was covered with armament haki and the thick skin of Brachiosaurus. Still can't stop Ren's fierce punch. Heat. Ren also spewed out a stream of fire. The temperature of this fire stream is terrifying. Penetrate everything within kilometers. Even stone peaks can melt in an instant. Cyrus' figure dodged at great speed. Then the sword chi was cut out, overwhelming towards Ren covering. Ren didn't dodge. Choose to bear it as a dragon man. The roar continued, and one after another sword chi slashed at Ren's body, but failed to break through the defenses. Slashing from a distance, the power is already weakened. Naturally, I can't hurt Ren at the moment. Terrible defense. Ren thought he was going to have some bruises. But no. However, Cyrus did increase in strength. If it's close, it's hard to say. Tornado bad wind. Ren incarnates as a green dragon, and the dragon's body rotates and moves. Several tornadoes of destruction that reached the sky immediately rushed towards Cyrus. Thunder destruction sword. Cyrus slashed with all his might. A giant sword chi is all over the place, and it is extremely majestic. Crashing into a flying tornado. Several small mountains nearby were shattered in an instant. Such a terrifying destructive power, it's like Kaido is alive, Caesar said with a trembling voice. Thunder roar 8 trigrams. Ren suddenly turned into a dragonman again. Appeared above Cyrus at a speed of thunder. Unleash the enhanced attack of thundering 8 trigrams. Conqueror's haki and black lightning wrapped around the mace. Swept down with one stick. Cyrus hurriedly blocked. Pung's voice was directly hammered into the ground by Ren. A mouthful of blood was shocked. No, there is still a gap between me and Lord Ren, Cyrus said with a slight defeat. Cyrus really felt at least several times stronger. If only he had this kind of strength against Brother Ming before. He felt that his chances of winning were more than 80%. Hammering him over might not be a big problem. But even with such strength, when facing Ren, there is still a sense of powerlessness. It seems that the gap between the emperor rank and other strong people is even wider than I thought. Ren too. Judging from just now, Cyrus was perfectly capable of holding off any of the generals. And it's not easy to lose. It can pose a certain threat to the emperor and strong. It's just hard to beat. If it is said that the strength of the imperial level is won or lost in 4 or 60% or the strength gap is half open, then Cyrus to the admiral emperor, there is probably only about a 20% chance of winning. The odds seem slim, but you know, his opponent is the top combat power on this sea. This is already stronger than Quinn, a little stronger than Ember. I feel like I'm not fully integrated yet, and I have a hunch that I can go even further. Cyrus felt his strength merge with Quinn. It should be more than that. In the near future, it is expected to improve again. But not within these 2 days. It should take a little more time. It's already very good. Ren was satisfied. If I really want to say it, Cyrus has actually stepped into the level of General Emperor with 1 foot. It's just not strong enough. It may be equivalent to the level of Zephyr in old age and sickness. It is a master who cannot be underestimated by those who are strong at the imperial level AEG. Just give him time. He who fuses Quinn's strength, plus his own strength. The two comprehend each other and become stronger. Become a real young and strong general battle power. It's just a matter of time. Keep up the good work. Ren encouraged the engineers. And let them also extract the genes of the artificial zone abilities who died in the previous battle. Then bring the Ember's gene fluid. Ren returned to the Place de la Flore. After the death of the Kurozumi serpent, the corpses were also ravaged by the people of the capital O Flowers. Kazuki Hiyori, after washing up, bright again, she didn't leave. She was waiting. Wait for Ren to arrive. That's when Ren arrived. His policy toward Wano-kuni will also come out. It can be seen whether he will be kind to the people of Wano-kuni. Here it comes. The Kiriv airboat in Ren is already familiar to the people of Wano-kuni. Everyone looked up at the sky. The live broadcast is once again available to all the people of Wano-kuni. To the people of Wano-kuni, the future is bright. Or darkness. It's all this man who has the final say. Hayo and she are in the capital of Flowers, next to Kurozumi Serpent. Whining. It's great that you don't have the facts. River Song of the Rabbit Bowl saw this scene in the live broadcast. Tears of joy welled up. The big snake guy is dead, Kaido is dead, and guarding Wano-kuni is the last thing we can do. Asura boy drinks and watches the live broadcast. Light or darkness, Your Highness Odin. Shimotsuki Yasui also looked at the screen apprehensively. He had an unnatural smile on his face. Master, Kaido is defeated, will we be able to eat enough in the future? Ayu looked at the screen and innocently asked Tengu Mountain Fei-che next to him. In fact, Kazuki Odin's father, Kazuki Sukiyaki, who did not die many years ago and survived. Then it depends on the will of this man. Wano-kuni has been through too many disasters, hey. I hope that this time it is not to send away the jackals, but to the tiger and leopard. Ren, however, just looked at the people of the Flower City and said a word. But it has completely reassured countless people. You have been working hard all this time. If there are allies, everyone can enjoy fairness and food and clothing. You have been hungry for a long time. Today, you will enjoy a good meal. All food and drinks, expenses are provided by the allies. After that, talk about it later. Ren fell with a word. The city was silent. Then there was an unprecedented cheer. Long live the allies. This is a real thing. It is also an expense that should not be underestimated. But the allied leaders did it anyway. Whether it's to bring people together, or for some other purpose. At least he will not dominate the people of Wano-kuni by violent means. Prove that he cares about these people. This is countless times stronger than the Kurozumi serpent. People who can think about people's livelihood. No matter how, it will not torture the people. Hayo, Denjiro, Hayagoro and others all breathed a sigh of relief when they saw this. And show a knowing smile. What do you say you are worried about? The person who can make so many people swear allegiance to death must be a wise leader. Hayagoro looked at Komatsu and teased. Years of rocks suddenly fell. He smiled like never before. He didn't expect it. In the end, Wano-kuni didn't wait for that prophecy. Instead, he was saved by a group of outsiders. Less horse after the gun. You were obviously nervous just now, okay. Ha ha ha, I'm going to the flower capital to find Rihei and the princess. Do you want to join you? Of course. Ren didn't talk much nonsense. Ideals and dreams of these words. You can talk about it after they have eaten and drunk enough. Let the insufficiently fed be fed first. The hearts and minds of the people will naturally come together. The biggest problem for the people at the bottom is nothing more than food and clothing. So it didn't take a while. The whole Wano-kuni bangs the gong and drums, sings and sings. Truckloads of clean food and drink were transported by the Chrono soldiers to various villages in Wano-kuni. Everyone smiled. Some even cried with joy, took off their clothes and ran wildly. All suffering seems to disappear at this moment. Accompanied by beautiful tunes, impassioned singing. People feast, eat meat, drink alcohol. Praise the allies. Call them divine soldiers from heaven. They have come to save the world from the sea of misery. Their physical fitness is completely resistant to a sumptuous meal after a long period of hunger. Even if you can't resist it. If you really want to die at this time, it is also a kind of happiness. Master, it's clean water, it's so sweet. It turns out that the water is a little sweet. I always thought it was bitter. Ayu said with tears rolling in her eyes and extremely moved. Yes. Listening to Ayu's words, General Kazuki Sukiyaki became more and more ashamed. Ayu from birth to the present. But it was the first time I drank clean water. In the past, water was drunk as little as possible. But that's it, these less toxic waters. They also often can't afford it. And the toxic, every time you drink a little, you will have a serious illness. Great, really gave us so much food and water. Even wine, allied Saigo. The city of flowers is bustling. Watch people sing and dance. Ren smiled. Compared to war and bloodshed, he prefers to see such images. He's sipping black tea in an ordinary tea house. When passing here, Ren smelled good tea. Kurozumi's Serpent's Palace smells of blood. Ren didn't want to go. The ghost island is basically in ruins. It will take time to rebuild. Next to Ren, there are several guests. Yamato, Kazuki Hiyori, and Denjiro are all here. Kazuki Hiyori briskly flicks the three Mistsu. The superb technique and beautiful melody made Ren full of praise. She has long emerald hair, clear eyebrows, and elegant and dignified manners. She is a very beautiful and weak girl. But effeminence is only the surface. Her heart is very strong. Yamato, on the other hand, is extremely well developed and taller, but does not appear burly. On the contrary, there is a very harmonious wild beauty. It's just grinning in nature. Occasionally it looks a little unintelligent. She has very good-looking fading gray hair. There is also a pair of cupola horns similar to Kaido. Two peerless beauties with different styles accompanied in front of you. Ren thought the view was nice. Ren thought Yamato would hate himself a little. After all, her father, Kaido, died at his own hands. If that's the case, that Yamato is unlikely to be able to stay around. She is not an enemy. It's also not good to use mind controllers. That thing is generally only used against people or enemies who are loyal to themselves but are not at ease. That's the bottom line. And her strength is not weaker than Ember at all. It is the form of the phantom beast breed dog fruit big mouth true god. It may not be manageable yet. But unexpectedly, Yamato still insisted on his previous choice, follow him. He is a pirate, he is prepared for life and death, even if you don't defeat him, I will, this is my mission as Kazuki Oden. Yamato said with a big grin. Obviously she's not just talking. Instead, it has long been decided so. After she saw the dire life of the people of Wano-kuni, it is decided to destroy relatives in the righteousness. Of course, this is not known when Ren handcuffed her foundationally. It doesn't matter if you find out that the handcuffs do explode. That may have cut off the last trace of family affection. Held her like an animal, educated, beaten. For whatever purpose. For Yamato, it wasn't a good memory. Now Yamato is in the capacity of a guard. 2. Monitor how Ren treats Wano-kuni. If Wano-kuni is abused one day, she will shoot. But Ren thought she wouldn't have had that chance. Lord Ren, thank you for saving Wano-kuni with this song. Kazuki Hiyori, after playing a song, got up and gave a gift and thanked him. Then his eyes looked slightly unkindly at Yamato, who was eating meat and drinking tea. Hey, Kaido's daughter, can you please take a bite of Oden? That's right, I'm your father, don't worry, I will definitely watch Wano-kuni successfully open the country. Yamato said generously. You, said Yamato looking at him so shamelessly. Kazuki Hiyori didn't know what to say for a moment. After all, Yamato doesn't look like a joke. She's a big fan of your father, so let's understand it for now. Ren played around. But when she said that, it always felt strange. Since you are Oden's daughter, then it is also my daughter, I will treat you well in the future. Yamato said with a serious nod. You see, Hiyori looked helpless. Yamato, do you want to restrain yourself? Oh, this meat is really good, do you eat it? Yamato is like a self-cooked man with no heart or lungs. Hold up a piece of flesh and hand it to Ren. But there is such a wild father as Kaido. Yamato's temperament is naturally not gentle. For Yamato, you don't have to solve your own father with your own hands. Already a good thing. After all, it really came to that moment. She wasn't sure she could do it. So in the case of Ren killing Kaido, she was a little sad though. But Ren is really not to blame at all. From today, you are still the princess of Wano-kuni, what do you think? Ren also wanted to help the son and ascend to the throne. Just like Rebecca. But she was still a little wary of herself. Nor can you use a mind controller on her. So you can try to let her continue to be a princess first. Be a mascot. It is used to attract strong people like Cat Pit Viper and Hyunguro. And stable Wano-kuni. Wait for her to live a few days and recognize her ideas. It is not too late to take the position of the general. You want to be my father too. He was subconsciously blurted out. Apparently not yet out of Yamato's influence. Ren touched his nose sarcastically. It feels like I can't stay here. At this time, a message from the submarine made Ren's eyes brighten. Report Lord Ren, we have found something suspected to be the ancient weapon you said below the sea area of the Ghost Island. Well, Lord Ren, I didn't mean that. Blame Yamato for taking me sideways. Kazuki Hiyori saw that Ren was speechless, and quickly said apologetically. She looked effeminate, but the temperament is not really quiet. Since he was a child, he has loved to kick Momosuke. Ren says it's great. It's okay. What do you think of what I just said? Ren didn't care about the little things. Can I do it? All these years, I have just been hiding and not understanding anything. Quote. Kazuki Hiyori was a little impressed with Ren's proposal. Outside. As long as you are there and do nothing, the people will have peace of mind, and the real founding of Wano-kuni, do you know what it means? Ren spoke in a slight tone. Isn't it enough to open a route to the outside world? Kazuki Hiyori was stunned for a moment, then asked puzzled. Yamato stopped eating too. She thinks so too. Odin's diary probably meant that. But she had noticed. There seems to be a page or two defective there. Could it be that those 1 or 2 pages of content were not written and torn out by mistake? But is there something else? I'll ask you to invite your grandfather, and soon you'll know, and let's go see another Wano-kuni. Although Ren's desire for ancient weapon is not strong. But since it is sleeping in Wano-kuni, Ren wanted to see how powerful this weapon, known as an artifact, was a forbidden weapon. Jabba says the world government is mastering an ancient weapon. Apparently not Pluton and Poseidon. Pluton in Wano-kuni. Its construction drawings were in Frankie's hands. But burned down. The world government didn't get it. The Enies Lobby incident was also triggered for this purpose. Poseidon is the princess of the Fishmen Island. This is a special weapon. The world government may have guessed. But I don't know which generation of princesses it will be. So the world government probably has only Uranus. Grandpa, another Wano-kuni. Hiyori was stunned. In this world, does she have any other relatives? What does another Wano-kuni mean? Grandpa, that's my father. Yamato was also confused. Ren didn't explain much. Just now, he had asked Kazuki to invite Kazuki Sukiyaki. Ren has an instinct. This ancient weapon is not something that ordinary people can take out. Most of them are related to the bloodline of the Kazuki family or some records. Hayo. When Kazuki Sukiyaki saw Hayo, immediately old tears, he has tried to find it over the years. But Wano-kuni is not small, and everyone has to live incognito. It's so easy to find. Grandpa. Hiyori also had excitement and joy to see his loved ones. Big brother, hello, I'm Ayu. Sukiyaki is followed by a small and cute girl, Ayu. For this can fill her. Big brother with clean water. Ayu is very fond. Ayu is good. Ren nodded and smiled. It seems that you know what it means to open Wano-kuni. Kazuki Sukiyaki said with a complicated face. This outsider knows the Wano-kuni quite well. Yes, even if Wano-kuni is blocked, it will still attract all kinds of pirates. It will not change before, it will not change in the future. Wano-kuni needs to have the power to deter outsiders. Ren said. For Wano-kuni, that's true. For Ren, it's just an excuse. Without ancient weapon, he could still keep the entire Wano-kuni. How much do you know about Wano-kuni? Sukiyaki asked. There were 2 Wano-kuni in the past. One is the current Wano-kuni, and the other is the Wano-kuni that sinks under the water, which used to be a country at the foot of the Fujiyama mountain, and then a tall wall appeared around the island, isolating the whole country from the outside world, and the Wano-kuni at the foot of the mountain was also flooded, and the current Wano-kuni was built by the later Wano-kuni halfway up this vine mountain. And to open up Wano-kuni means to remove these walls. Ren will learn about it. Kazuki Sukiyaki was surprised when he heard this. Few people know Wano-kuni so well now. Grandpa, what he said is true. He was said in shock. She grew so big that she learned that Wano-kuni turned out to have 2. And their former Wano-kuni were surrounded by something like a wall that suddenly appeared one day. Is it a protection? Yamato also looked curious. She always thought that Wano-kuni was the founding of the country. It's about connecting Wano-kuni to the outside world. I didn't expect it to literally open. But Yamato knows how majestic the walls surrounding Wano-kuni are. On one side, there is the climbing waterfall. How do you move away from such a huge size? Yes, and ancient weapon is sleeping under the water of the old Wano-kuni. Of course, I have not seen them, and they have only gone deeper under the water in the past Kaido, and I have only seen historical texts. Kazuki Sukiyaki said. He hadn't seen Pluton either. The old Wano-kuni is huge. And at extremely deep depths. What's more, there are towering walls all around. Kaido also did not know that Wano-kuni was sleeping with such a weapon. There is a passage to the bottom of the water. That passage is known only to the people of the Kazuki family. But they have Jack, the fishman. He sank to the bottom from the outside area of the water. The water here is not seawater. It's just that the water that has been standing all year round looks like the sea. I saw the place of this historical article underwater. But they don't understand. Even if you understand, it's a road sign text. It's impossible to know that Pluton is down there. I don't know what Odin knew overseas, but he insisted on opening the country, that is, removing the protective wall of the current Wano-kuni and taking out the ancient weapon Pluton. Kazuki Sukiyaki said. Wait, if it is really eliminated, then Wano-kuni's natural barrier does not exist. Hiyori reacted and said. Yes, the walls in a sense, the confinement also protects Wano-kuni. Quote. Is this the real founding of the country? Yamato was a little excited. This is what she has wanted to do all her life. As for the walls, if it's gone, it's gone. Even if there is a natural danger. Has Wano-kuni really been peaceful? No, that's not the need to try to go the other way to see. Perhaps he predicted that something big would happen in the near future, and that Wano-kuni would need the power to protect himself or protect others. Ren guessed. Comprehensive guessing from God's perspective. Ren felt that there was only one possibility. Just now, the submarine has detected under the ruins, there is indeed something similar to the outline of a battleship. If there is a passage, it will trouble the old man to lead the way. Ren said. Sukiyaki did not refuse. He has seen through it. The founding of Wano-kuni is imperative. But how to remove the wall? He didn't know. That should not be something that can be done by people. Inside a quiet, dimly lit passageway. There were loud footsteps. Be careful, the stairs here are moldy. Kazuki Sukiyaki said. Yamato looked left and right curiously. Curious about everything. Hiyori and Denjiro were also curious. It's just that they're a little more reserved. Ayu grabbed the corner of Master Sukiyaki's clothes. Some looked around with fear. Ren walked calmly. There is such a deep underground passage. Walked for a long time. Yamato suddenly exclaimed. There is still light here, the windows are made of glass, that is, old Wano-kuni. They see under the refraction of light. Dense, massive buildings lie quietly underwater. All the building styles are almost the same as in Wano-kuni today. Even many buildings remain relatively intact. Through the window, you can see a variety of fish swimming in the building. Many of the step walls below are made of glass. Wano-kuni is worthy of being a country of craftsmen. Ren praised it heartily. For hundreds of years, it has been immersed in water. The passage remains strong. Many buildings haven't even collapsed yet. This country is powerful at making sea stones, and it is also powerful at making weapons. That's history. Not long after, they came to a room. See the history of this article. Ren wasn't interested in it, though. I don't understand it either. But it was recorded anyway. Next, we can go further, but there is nothing in those places, and in the records, the ancient weapon is sleeping under this old Wano-kuni, and it may be under the ruins or walls, but the walls are still there, so I haven't seen the ancient weapon either. Sukiyaki said truthfully. Next, he didn't know what to do. I'll give it a try. Ren immediately let the submarine dive. Through the glass windows, they could see submarines near the old Wano-kuni. Many sonar instruments and exploration instruments are in action. The outline has been captured just now. Now just scan the search carefully. Most of them can be found. Lord Ren, in the direction of your southeast corner, a weak energy reaction has been detected, suspected of being an entrance. Soon the news came. Ren quickly told General Sukiyaki about this information. Southeast corner. It seemed to be just a long abandoned warehouse, with only a few broken weapons. Sukiyaki has a little memory. A lot of things passed down hundreds of years later. A lot is missing. Even Sukiyaki, the former general of Wanokuni, does not know everything. Go check it out. Yamato couldn't contain the excitement in his heart. Soon the crowd passed through many corridors. Come to a room. It is transparent all around, but the ground has a thick metallic texture. Scattered around were weapons that had long since been broken. Ren crouched down and touched the floor with her hand. Observation Haki released. Want to infiltrate it, if there is other space below. With the strength of his observation Haki, it can penetrate the past. But actually, observation Haki just used it. It was as if it was turned away by an invisible wall. It does seem to be different. You guys stand away, I'll lift this metal floor and see. Ren transforms into a dragon claw posture with one hand. Although not all transformations, but Yamato was puzzled. How is this so much like the abilities of a bad old man? But that shouldn't be possible. Click. The metal plate was violently torn apart by Ren, revealing a seastone-like texture of the ground. Ren felt no discomfort. But Yamato and Ayu, who re-entered the room, suddenly weakened. Collapsed to the ground. It's a seastone floor, it's so uncomfortable. Yamato leaned against the wall, trying to stand up. But his feet were a little unobedient. This is a seastone of extremely high purity. Otherwise, with Yamato's ability and strength, it's not so hard to even stand up. Airplanes. Suddenly, a complex pattern of light appeared under Hiyori and Sukiyaki feet. The test passes. For the Kazuki bloodline, the inheritance ceremony is activated. An electronic sound sounded. This is followed by a clattering change in the ground. A bright passage leading underground is revealed. Everyone looked surprised. Is this the gateway to where ancient weapon is located? Sure enough. Ren guessed correctly. Sure enough, the Kazuki family is an important part of starting ancient weapon. Pluton, this ancient weapon. It has long been clearly stated that it is a super battleship. It's no surprise that Ren has a similar means of verification. And how hard seastone is. It is destined to be extremely difficult to destroy. The entry of violent means may only be counterproductive. That's not what Ren wants to see. Ren wanted as much as possible to master this super battleship. Go in, and subconsciously looked at Ren. Ren nodded. The crowd entered along the passage. On both sides are bright passages. But it's not walls, it's not metallic. It's wooden. This is the same as the electronic tone just now. It's a bit out of place. They walked down the stairs. Suddenly a door appeared in front of him. They were stopped. Hiyori stepped forward, but this time the prompt was different. The first level of trial is about to begin, whether to accept it or not. Spoke again. The door was talking. Ayu said fearfully. Yamato looked at the door curiously. Knocked with his hand. Nothing happened. Hiyori looked at everyone blankly. Don't know what to do. It seems that even if the bloodline of the Kazuki family arrives, it is not without requirements. It requires certain qualifications, too. After all, it is an ancient weapon. It is impossible for anyone from the Kazuki family to control it, but it needs strength. Or quality. Or both. Ren groaned. Just give it a try. The door was made of the same materials as in this historical text, and the wooden walls also flowed with some kind of energy, and I could feel it. It was incredible. Pluton has been sleeping here for at least hundreds of years. Is it still functioning? Kazuki Sukiyaki also said incredulously. Ren sensed the wooden wall with his hand. The breath of energy that flows. Not weaker than the stone of that historical text. I'm afraid it was he who violently destroyed. It doesn't have to be ruined. Is this ancient weapon? It's extraordinary. I don't know if sending hundreds of nuclear bombs can be destroyed. But that's just a thought. This thing is reluctant to destroy. Judging from the rumors, if this thing can be mastered, I'm afraid it's stronger than the Emperor's combat power alone. Otherwise, why should it be called an artifact? The world wants it too. Do you want to accept it? Hiwa asked the crowd. She wanted to accept it. It was a strong instinct. Try it. Give up if you're in danger. Ren said. What Sukiyaki wanted to say. But records passed down from generation to generation. It doesn't seem to have said anything to watch out for. There may be no danger. Except, He would chose to accept. Then a soft glow emanated from the door to envelop Hiyori. Pulled her in at once. Others watched slightly nervously. Princess Hayo, he'll be fine. Denjiro asked worriedly. Probably not. Sukiyaki said uncertainly. I'm also Kazuki Odin, why don't you let me in? Yamato felt that this ancient weapon was not fair at all. When Sukiyaki heard this, he smiled slightly. Although Yamato is Kaido's daughter. But the nature is very different. Even he thought it would be nice to have such a daughter. Huh, Ren mentally commented, but didn't say it. But they didn't really worry. The light on the door flashed. Hiyori was thrown directly. Huh, that's too fast, isn't it? Ren was stunned. Everyone was also surprised. It doesn't seem like a few seconds to go in. How did it come out? Hayo's hair was a little disheveled, his face was red, his head was lowered, and he looked doubtful about life. Hayo, what's wrong with you? Are you all right? Sukiyaki, this grandfather, immediately became nervous. What happened? Ren also asked curiously. It's a bit fast. That's enough time to say a sentence or two. After I went in, I met a white crane, and it beat me fat, saying that I was too weak, and embarrassing the Kazuki family, woo. Everyone present immediately petrified. Siberian crane. Does Hiyori know what he's talking about? They are now under extremely deep water. And according to the records, Pluton has been sleeping for hundreds of years. I'm afraid no one has been here for hundreds of years. In such a space, how can there be living things? If there are living creatures, forget it. It can barely be understood as some devil fruit product. After all, dead things can eat devil fruit. This kind of technology, perhaps, has existed before. But go in and get beaten up by fat. Let the day and grievances become like this. It's something that no one has thought about. Apparently going in is only enough time to say a few words. Jin Hiwa suffered a spiritual crit. Although Hiyori is not good at force. But even a bird can bully her casually. This is probably something she never thought of. Ha ha ha, won't you? You can't even beat a bird. When Yamato heard this, he laughed unceremoniously. Hiyori became more and more aggrieved. Sukiyaki after the initial accident. He opened his mouth and comforted. If this is an assessment, of course it is impossible to pass it easily. After all, the power must be in the right hands, otherwise it will cause disaster. This is true. It can be thought that Hiyori was still beaten by a bird. Ren couldn't help but be a little stoic. Of course, he didn't really laugh. Just find it interesting. You can't do this, we Kazuki family members must be strong. I'll give it a try. Yamato walked up to the door. The hand went up. No response. I don't believe it. Yamato picked up the mace directly. Others looked at Ren. It's okay, try. If Yamato doesn't try, he plans to give it a try, too. Pong. A mace knocks down. The surrounding doors buzzed. Warning, spotting violent intruders. Maid, disturb dreams. Then a pillar of light the size of the door suddenly burst out. It's so fast that Yamato can't even react. 220. Quote, only the pupil is in crisis. Sudden contraction. Seeing this, Ren burst out extremely fast. Pull Yamato back. Press and hold down this pillar of light with one hand. The iron curtain device instantly appeared in front of him. Rumble. With a muffled sound, all attacks were isolated in front of the door. Everyone behind Ren was safe. Just now with the words of ability. Block it, and the aftermath will ripple. In this small space. Can be quite deadly. That pillar of light. It's all comparable to Kizaru Admiral's blow. But with an iron curtain device. Make sure everyone is okay. Yamato looked up at Ren with a shisui face. She was just pulled by Ren. The whole person crashed into his arms. If it weren't for something that you have a buffer for. She probably bumped into his hard body. It can be painful. After all, the reaction speed and power inertia at that moment were extremely high. It seems that violent means are not desirable. I'm okay, you can let go of me. For your sake, we'll be friends in the future, and we'll have time to take a shower together. He said with a big grin. As soon as these words came out, there was silence. Ren also looked at Yamato in amazement. What does this big girl say in public? It's easy to misunderstand you when you talk like this. You see, Denjiro's eyes are wary. Certainly not for self-vigilance. He was a man after all. He was vigilant for the son and the princess. Hiyori looked at the two with an incredulous look at the moment. The crit suffered at the moment. It is no less than the white crane incident just now. Didn't you say that yourself? When you have time to take a shower together, speaking of which, it's a little stuffy here. Yamato added, looking at a stunned Ren. He said, swinging back and forth with his collar. Try to make yourself less stuffy. Ren seriously suspected that someone was in a vacuum. Because he is closest. Almost 90% of it. And she never thought of herself as a girl. Always live the man's way. Disheveled. Ren kicks Yamato out. It hurts, what are you doing? Yamato crashed into the wall. After getting up, he looked at Ren with a puzzled face. Goods, can you pay attention to the impact? Ren said expressionlessly. Since I met Yamato, Ren felt her blood pressure spike every now and then. What do you mean? Yamato rubbed his fading white hair, looking confused. Ren didn't answer her. He was thinking that the one in front of him was an electronic synthesized sound. The voice in the back is clearly with personal emotions. Could it be that ancient weapon Pluton is a living creature? Ahem, I'll give it a try. At this time, Sukiyaki broke through this somewhat chaotic situation. He is different from Riwa. Although I have neglected to exercise for so many years. The strength has dropped a lot. But it is better than Hiwa. Ren nodded. Whether it's Hiyori or Sukiyaki. As long as you can master Pluton's ancient weapon. The whole country is now its own. They are destined to become their own strength. Come on Grandpa, help me teach that mixed protein crane a good lesson, hearsay. Hope was immediately ignited. Hear the encouragement of your own granddaughter. Sukiyaki only felt that the blood that had been exhausted for many years began to boil. In any case, you can't lose face in front of your own granddaughter. Sukiyaki came to the gate. The test passes. Then I was pulled in by the gate. Grandpa will definitely be able to. Kazuki Hiyori said confidently. But when the words fell, the Sukiyaki came out. Faster than her. This made Kazuki Hiyori's expression instantly freeze. Master, you are so fast. Ayu is unscrupulous. The bird said it wasn't a crane, and said I'm too old to test, said Sukiyaki embarrassedly. He ended without starting. It seems that the hope is still in Princess Riwa, and there is no need to use violent means until there is no hope at all. Ren said. Here Ren have faith in himself. Hiyori was very happy. But she didn't have confidence. But I can't even pass the first level, my strength is too weak, that bird just said that there are a total of 7 levels. It's not like Riwa didn't want to get stronger by exercising before. But realistic conditions do not allow it. Even eating every day is a problem. Where to spare to exercise? Why did you leave Hisong in the first place? It's because they haven't been able to eat enough. Kawamatsu also gave himself his food. If that continues, River Song will definitely starve to death. So she resolutely chose to leave. Even if she herself may starve to death because of it. And slightly older, she has to learn to survive in a world of deception. Wisdom is more important. Every day there are endless things to deal with. There is no time to exercise. Many people have a hard time even surviving. And what time to chase something else? If it's just a matter of strength, then it's good to solve it, start cultivating from the very basics, go back first, it seems that you won't be able to win this ancient weapon for a while. Ren said. You can't get your hands on ancient weapon today, though. But the more difficult things are, often means more extraordinary. And that's exactly what Ren says. If only it was a matter of strength. That's not hard to solve. Even if the strength of Hiyori is weak now. But there are many freshly refined gene fluids in the gene center. Choose a good one, then slowly adapt to the exercise. In a short period of time, the strength is expected to increase by tens or hundreds of times. After all, Hiwa is too weak. There is a lot of room for improvement. Can't you go in today? Yamato said with a slight disappointment. In the recent period, you helped exercise Hiochi's strength. Ren said to Yamato. No problem, leave it to me. Yamato rolled up his sleeves and said energetically. Odin's diary. He was able to educate his own children. Now this responsibility falls on me. It couldn't be more fitting. All right. Hiwamoto refused. The thought of Yamato being his own father every day. She felt so strange, but in the end, he was not willful. Reluctantly accepted, she knew it was good for herself. Let's go. Ren and the others left here for a while. No one was sent to guard it either. Just where this article is located in the history above. A ground-based satellite radar was installed. So anyone who enters here, he can see it, but it is estimated that it will not be used. It hasn't been found here for years. Suffice it to say that it is very secretive. They go back to it. The carnival is gradually coming to an end. There are less than 24 hours left until the public execution of Fire Fist Ace. Ren added the soul mining vehicle. Countless mining trucks, lined up, walk in rows throughout every square of land in Wano-kuni. Watch the soul mining truck pass by back and forth. The people of Wano-kuni are curious though. Life has also been affected to some extent. But everyone is very cooperative. Because it doesn't hurt them. Even many families receive subsidies. Start by taking Quinn. Ren was already mining soul ore. It's just that when I didn't win Kaido, Ren couldn't mine at full capacity. But after Kaido fell, Ren mined like crazy. Out of ancient weapon, Ren looked at his soul ore. From the use to about 20 million. In just half a day. It skyrocketed to 8 billion soul ores. Previously, after the war, Ren built a number of buildings. The soul ore obtained in this small half a day. It's more than 3 or 4 times the size of Dressrosa as a whole. Although this has to do with Ren putting in more minecarts and collecting faster. But this is also known. Wano-kuni's decades-long tyranny reigned. Compared to Mingo, there is a disguised 8-year rule. The darkness and emotions that have precipitated are much more intense. There are many more soul ores. At the current rate, Ren estimates that it can be mined for a whole day. According to the stock on the island of Wano-kuni, Ren initially estimated that it could break at least 20 billion soul ores. Converted into soldiers' words, that's 100 million soldiers. Thinking of this, Ren heart boiled and excited. The only thing he worries about now is zero. There is nowhere to put this army. Plus his own original soldiers. That's almost 180 million soldiers. The number of troops has increased by more than 10 times. Arno, Kingdom of Goya, Dressrosa, Victoria, Wano-kuni. Plus some deserted islands that hit down. This cannot fit 100 million troops. The sea can be put down. But on the sea, too conspicuous. Too easy to detect. Especially if you have an ability similar to Violet's clairvoyance. Was discovered. I don't necessarily find it yet. Before the war between Whitebeard and Marine Headquarters. I still need to hide my own troops. When the war began, it was completely released. Then it doesn't matter. Is there a country that is vast and deserted? Ren hasn't started exploding yet. Wano-kuni's hidden strength of about 10 million troops is already the limit. And now he holds 8 billion soul ores. Ren could explode another 40 million. Then first explode 40 million, plus the existing almost 50 million. Ren Kirov airboat landed on the Ghost Island. In the office at the moment, he looked at the world map of this world. And satellite images that can be monitored. There are many screens that are spoiled. Those places are basically on the Grand Line. Only the magnetic field of the Grand Line can make the climate so chaotic. It can make the satellite temporarily unable to capture the picture. Suddenly, Ren's gaze fell on a desert. Yes, Alabasta. Alabasta is a famous country in the world. At the time, it was under the planning of Crocodile. The strength of the enemy and our forces is about 1 million. As you can imagine, the population of Alabasta will not be less than 10 million. But there are not many cities. More than 90% of them are deserts. At that time, the Straw Hat Regiment walked for several days and nights in the desert before they came across a city. The territory is vast. Find a deserted sand dune. Hide 120 million soldiers. The probability of detection is also not large. Okay, that's it. Ren did it as soon as he thought of it. Alabasta has just the right climate at the moment. The satellite soon found a rolling desert of sand dunes on Alabasta. Each sand ravine is very wide. And it has strong concealment. Once the forces are hidden, even from the air, it may not be discovered. This kingdom really wants to hide. Ren estimates that hiding hundreds of millions of troops is not a problem. Through the chrono troops, Ren arrived in the desert in the next second. Click. A main base rose out of thin air. Then nuclear power stations sprung up one after another. Hundreds and hundreds of tank factories have emerged. Barracks were built in thousands. Prism towers, pillboxes, fences, these should also be properly built. But probably no one will come here. Therefore, the main thing is to build more barracks and tank factories. At the same time, Ren also put in some soul mining vehicles. Although Alabasta's national situation tends to be stable, the soul ore is estimated to have dissipated a lot. The stock is average, but something is better than nothing. However, it can only be mined nearby. Ren doesn't want to be noticed for a little soul ore. Start producing soldiers. The blaster begins. Thousands of barracks were started at the same time. Every second, 3,000 soldiers are born. More than 10 million troops can be exploded in an hour. As long as the soul ore continues, there is no limit to the explosive troops. Barracks can also be increased indefinitely. But barracks also cost money. If there is enough time, use about the same amount to do. After all, this speed is not slow now. There are soul ores, and hundreds of millions of soldiers are exploded. That's 10 hours, totally in time for summit war. Nuclear missiles also need to be stocked. The current stock against the 4 emperors, although it is still at ease, but Marineford these emperor-level powerhouses, there are more than 3 or 4, you have to be prepared to be hostile to anyone. Increased to 1,000, as well as weather controllers. Ren soon got into action. And when Ren is constantly exploding production, Stussy, who was under house arrest on Ghost Island, was a little desperate. What the hell is going on with these soldiers? She did everything in her power, trying to seduce the soldiers guarding her. But it is useless. This made her wonder if she was old and yellow. There is no charm at all. Those guys are still not men. And even the leaders of the Allied forces seem to have forgotten about her. Speaking of being killed by a straw hat that doesn't even know hockey on your home turf, it's really unjust. Wait, sand crocodile, impel down, genetic trace. Ren eyes suddenly lit up. It's really dark under the lights. The reason why the LV-6 prisoners were not immediately executed. It's about detention, definitely related to certain experiments. If you want high-end combat power, isn't it best to go at this time? The straw hat made a fuss about impel down. Blackbeard should also be combined inside and out. Countless powerful criminals will be released. You can completely wait for the rabbit and sit on the profit of the fisherman. Air Command, immediately transmit the impel down picture, and the Air Force is ready. Ren did it as soon as he thought of it. Lord Ren, there is a thick cloud of lead over impel down, the magnetic field is chaotic, and satellites cannot penetrate to gain a field of view. Then teleport to the island with the best climate nearby. Received, destination Sabayati Archipelago, start teleporting. Silver light wrapped around Ren. In just a flash, you came to Sabayati Archipelago. To be honest, Ren still feels a little distant. But at the moment, thick clouds are hanging over many places in the first half of the Grand Line. A storm is brewing that covers a wide area. Ren appeared in an unoccupied venue. A shipyard was built first. Several of the fastest submarines were built. Put them into the sea. Since the climate cannot be directly transmitted now, then this is the means of transportation for the meeting. Ren can of course teleport when the weather is nice. But it's not necessary, etc. is also time consuming. To go now, is also to take time. Even this distance. He may have arrived first on a submarine. The submarine went several tens of meters underwater and was on standby. Teleport Cyrus and Guion. This time it was a sneak attack on the strong. But it is also a special period. Impel Down is not far from Marine's headquarters. So it is not good to surround Impel Down with a large number of forces. It is too easy to cause an all-out war with the Marine headquarters and sit on the profits of the fishermen. There is no need for frontal combat, although the class of troops that should be used must be used. But this time the number has to be controlled. Fortunately, this time there is no shortage of high-end combat power around Ren. Surprise attacks must work, but to be on the safe side, Ren called on the 2 high-end combat forces of Cyrus and Guion. At Ren notice, the Chrono Corps began to act. Soon Guion and Cyrus were brought to Ren. What did you suddenly call me for? I'm busy right now, Guion said angrily. She was hosting a banquet for 2 would-be Marine base chiefs. It's just Rear Admiral, though. But he has done a lot at New World. As long as the strength is stronger. A little more credit. Promotion to Vice Admiral, just around the corner. But the wine banquet is at the critical time. Ren brought her directly. did not even allow her to refuse. This made Guion, which was already extremely independent and autonomous, slightly resentful. Doesn't he know that he has been busy these days? Very tired, he did not call to ask about the situation. Do you believe in yourself, or do you not take yourself to heart at all? I don't know how to sympathize with my subordinates at all. I really want to find a chance to beat him up. Although they are people in one boat. It doesn't mean that he can call himself up and go. If you don't give yourself a good reason, see if you will give him a good look. There's something good for you. Ren directly ignored Guion's attitude. Excellent people. There are always some little tempers. As long as the big right and wrong are on their side. None of this matters at all. There's room for that, and Ren still has it. Ren said, taking out the Ember's gene fluid and handing it to Guion. What? Guion took the bottle in disbelief. Look at this liquid with a green glow in your hand. Repeated it several times, but I can't see the reason. Serve it and you'll know. Ren said lightly. That's a good thing, Cyrus said with fiery eyes. He had deeply appreciated the benefits of this thing. But even if Cyrus did not say, Guion will not refuse. There are so many mysterious places about Ren. Since he said it was a good thing, that shouldn't lie to yourself. It's not necessary. In this regard, Guion still believes Ren. She opened the cork and took a sip. It doesn't taste good. It's not for you to come to taste the food, there will be a reaction immediately. Ren said, glancing at Guion. Still care about taste. This is not good food. What auntie? It's hot, hot, you shouldn't have used that kind of medicine specifically for women on me, I trust you so much. Guion felt his whole body hot. A feeling of drumming swells in the body. Every cell jumps up. Her face immediately changed. This kind of thing, she is not rarely used by pirates when she performs her mission. Reaction to this drug. I have also seen it on some girls. What do you think? Calm down and appreciate everything this power brings. Ren knocked on Guion's head. What does Marine think? This is. Guion didn't have time to refute and ask Ren again. Suddenly some knowledge appeared in her mind out of thin air. At the same time, a raging flame suddenly rose on his body. She felt it. A mysterious force is growing every cell of her. Knowledge about the fruit of the ancient pterodactyl also appeared out of thin air. There are also various combat techniques. The powerful observation haki merges with her observation haki. Armed with haki fusion, swordsmanship fusion, Guion felt incredible. She felt like she was getting stronger rapidly. Many of Ember Master's abilities are very compatible with her own abilities. She was absolutely shocked. He even has such a good thing that can directly improve people's strength. It's also incredible. She has been galloping on the sea for so many years. I've never heard of such a thing. Even haki swordsmanship is available. And the flame of this racial talent. This flame can also increase her abilities in all aspects. There is also the terrible ability to adapt to the environment and self-heal. Rumble. This power and her power merged into ultimate. For a moment she couldn't control it. I couldn't help but roar and vent this surging power in my body. A terrifying aura soared into the sky. Stirred up the clouds in the sky. This is Conqueror's haki. You awakened Conqueror's haki. Ren was stunned. He had thought that Ember's ability matched her ability extremely well. But if he remembered correctly, neither Ember nor Guion will be Conqueror's haki. But now after fusion. But something has changed. Which Marine Admiral or 4 Emperors came to Sabayati? Rayleigh, who was drinking in the tavern, smacked his glass slightly. Looking at the atmosphere of Guion in the distance. It's not surprising that you've come. You've been very high profile lately. Let's say, well, if you're surrounded by Marine, don't expect me to help you. I want to live a few more years of purity. Shaki said lightly, smoking a cigarette. She is the former emperor of 9 Snake Island. But it has been out of the rivers and lakes for many years. Such a life today. It was what she wanted. But as the woman who knows Rayleigh best, she knew that Rayleigh wouldn't just go silent. It starts when he comes out to help the Straw Hat Kid. I'm afraid that I have already made a decision. Marine will have no time to pay attention to my bad old man. Rayleigh said with a faint smile. Shaki is typical of knife-mouthed tofu hearts. That really has to happen. She was afraid that she would strike before herself. Very sharp Conqueror's haki. It feels like it should be some big sword hero. Want to take a look? No, forget it. After fighting Kizaru last time, I feel old, so I don't mix with other things. Rayleigh shook his head. Oh, you will also serve the old, I don't believe it. I don't know, just now I thought that the strength is so strong, can I split the Holy Land in the future? Guion is also a little baffled. Although Conqueror's Haki is not particularly rare in New World. But she didn't have it before. She felt that this awakening was not only related to gene fluid. It may also be related to her recent change in mentality. Since seeing the tragedy in many countries, Guion slowly became angry with the world government. The mentality that used to be submissive and subservient to authority is completely gone. That's a good idea. Ren praised her idea. It immediately occurred to me that this was related to her change in mentality. Conqueror's Haki's awakening is inherently linked to personal will and boldness. I feel strong now. Guion slashes a sword towards the sea. Bang! A majestic sword aura with flames. Like a sharp mountain heading towards the sea. Spread tens of thousands of meters. Everywhere it passed, the sea water was cut out of an abyss. It took a long time to heal. Watch yourself casually slash at the blow. Cyrus was shocked. Guion himself was shocked. She didn't expect it to be so powerful. She felt that now she was herself. If you face her against the world's #1 sword Hawkeye, it should not be able to fall behind. Stronger than Cyrus. This is truly becoming a 10-star soldier. Ren affirmed. What is a 10-star soldier? Guion asked, puzzled. It's about the same as Kaido and Kizaru. Is it really that strong? Guion actually has this feeling. But she had thought she wanted to reach that level with her qualifications. It would take another 5 years, or more, to say less. I didn't expect it to be one step now. It always feels a little dreamy. Especially before you have fought such a strong person. She was still a little unsure. Reinforcement is done gradually. Her breath is still very sharp. Just fused, there is no way to fully control your breath. Wait, how can I vaguely feel that your breath is a little different from before? Guion's eyes suddenly froze. What do you want to do? I want to try it. Guion's long white legs protruded and protruded. Sweep towards Ren. The air burst straight under her whip legs. Look at her with a mischievous smile on her lips. Ren suspects that she wants to declare a personal vendetta. But there is no evidence. But she thought too much. Ren pokes out a dragon claw hand. With a bang, Peng easily grabbed Guion's long legs. I knew that you had something better for this bad embryo, and I would definitely use it myself. Don't make excuses. I see you just want to hit me. We are superior subordinate relationships, pay attention to the impact. Ren said lightly. You think too much. Guion resolutely refuses to admit it. All along, the conversation with Ren and the confrontation with her were on the downside. She has a strong self-esteem and can't stand it and always suffers losses. It just so happens that the strength is inflated. She also swelled for a while. I have to make him embarrassed. Of course, she wouldn't really hurt Ren. It's just that self-esteem and squeamishness do not admit defeat. Don't be so rough, be careful not to get married, but one thing to say, your legs are really good. Ren looked at the long legs he was clutching in his hands. From an aesthetic point of view, very beautiful and perfect. It also feels good. If you change to the previous netizens, it is not a problem to play for a few years. You, let go. Looking at an extremely indecent gesture. Guion's face turned red, and he hurriedly said in a panic. But I didn't expect him to boast. Let him go this time. Okay, don't make trouble, come to you, there is still a serious thing to do. Ren said calmly after letting go of Guion's long legs. I knew there was no such thing as a free lunch, so just say something. Let's go impel down and squat. Ren stared at her like a torch. Their allies also need high-end combat power. It's all criminals anyway. He laughed at their strength. Are you crazy? At this time, Impel Down is heavily guarded and located in the Calm Belt. Once surrounded by Impel Down, even if my strength skyrockets now, I may not be able to run. Guion looked at Ren in surprise. But Ren didn't explain. Just look at her faintly. Are you serious? Guion's heart sank. But from Ren's attitude, she knew that she was afraid that this trip would have to go. Just why? It's irrational to go to Impel Down at this time. Impel Down is a fortress. Easy to defend and difficult to attack. and something big happens. Marine headquarters can also provide timely support. At that time, if you are surrounded by Marine, that's dangerous. That's the case. Ren tells Guion the source of the gene fluid she just took. At the same time, I also said my thoughts. And the speculation that Impel Down may have been invaded is also informed him. Guion suddenly became excited, more positive and radical than Ren. The state of 220 degrees instantly 360 degrees of change. I'll just say, there is no need to be polite when it comes to reaping the benefits of the fisherman. Ren was pleased with Guion's attitude. Cyrus watched silently. Suddenly it felt like the two were together. There is a sense of harmony. Go. The submarine slowly floats up. The three got into the submarine. The goal is Impel Down. It's just when the submarine has just dived into the sea to a depth of about 80 meters. Suddenly, the submarine's sonar caught the report of an anomaly. What's wrong? Listening to the sirens ringing inside the submarine, Ren asked. Lord Ren, at a depth of about 1,000 meters under the water, something that looks like a fleet has been detected. The captain of the submarine hurriedly came over and reported. Flotilla. Ren was stunned for a moment, and then his face changed slightly. No way. So coincidental. Could it be the coating fleet of the Whitebeard pirates? If it is really the fleet that is captured, and not a single silhouette of the word, then more than 90% is the Whitebeard pirates. It's less than 22 hours before the execution of Fire Fist Ace. The Whitebeard pirates are definitely not in New World at the moment. It's not far from Marine's headquarters, so that they can attack at any time. And their fleet is all coated ships. And pirates from New World to the first half usually pass by the Fishmen Island. It's not surprising to be below Sabayati Archipelago at this moment, especially the dense routes below Sabayati Archipelago. It also provides them with the best hiding place. If so, it's a double happiness. Ren smiled satisfactorily. What are you planning again? Guion hasn't reacted yet. Wait until I confirm it. Send out the miniature submersible probe and approach the fleet. Ren isn't sure yet, although the guess is very certain. But in the end, it is necessary to affirm before acting. Received. A half-human-sized submersible probe is released from under the submarine. Slowly sink towards the bottom of the sea. 100 meters, 200 meters, 300 meters. On reaching about 800 meters. By the shimmer of the detector, see clearly that it is indeed the outline of the fleet. You can even faintly see the mast of the nearest ship. Fly the flag exclusive to the Whitebeard pirates. Sure enough, it's the rhythm of double happiness. The submarine sinks. Close to them. Ren ordered immediately. Could it be the fleet of the Whitebeard pirates? Guion also reacted at this time. Suddenly his face was full of shock. Marine's professional habits. Let her quickly take out the phone worm. However, after taking it out, it was not dialed. She reacted with hindsight. He is no longer a clean Marine. She looked towards Ren. I didn't expect to have a harvest before going to Impel Down. Ren muttered to himself in satisfaction. You're going to contact the Whitebeard pirates? Guion looked at Ren in surprise. It's dangerous. To be precise, we are going to blackmail Whitebeard. The sea floor with little light. Root of the tree with error correction. Huge, spectacular. Dozens of ships were hidden inside. Even if there are passing ships, you may not be able to find it. Especially all ships. At the bottom of the sea, the lights are turned off. Everything is silent. The entire Whitebeard pirate group went silent. The war is about to begin. They have to hide their traces before that. Can't be discovered by Marine. Once discovered, measures are taken against them. Then their chances of victory in this battle are even slimmer. Dad, we have 4 hours to spare. On the Motobec, Marco took a look at his pocket watch. They also assessed their distance to Marine's headquarters. It is concluded that they have a few hours of free time. Until then, they are no longer fit to act rashly. Wait quietly for this time to pass. Let everyone eat and drink well and recuperate. Whitebeard sat on the deck and looked out at the view. The eyes are extremely sharp. Marine headquarters so provoke them Whitebeard pirates. Make them pay no matter what. The most important thing is to rescue Ace. Even if it is to take your own life. Let everyone try not to make any movement. There are sea kings appearing. As long as they do not take the initiative to attack us, don't pay attention. We are here. Usually the diving ships will not deliberately come in, the vision is poor, but in case of detection, immediately control them. Marco turned to the captains and said, "Understood. Let those guys at Marine headquarters know what will happen to us as an enemy." The captains were full of murderous intent. Everyone riveted their feet. As long as Daddy is there, they are fearless and invincible. It's always been that way. Ace. Whitebeard's tall figure stood silently. At this point, he had removed all the needles. He didn't want his enemies to see his weak side. Pong. Suddenly, a faint popping sound was heard from a certain ship. "What's the situation?" Marco frowned slightly. "Didn't you tell you not to make a move as much as possible?" And everyone was silent. Scuyato found the unmanned submersible, approached them in that direction, and shot down directly for safety. Rest assured, the shot was fast and would not be captured. Quote, "Captain Marco, there are several completely sealed ships on it that seem to be heading straight for us." A lookout with excellent eyesight and excellent sight suddenly said. As soon as these words came out, everyone hurriedly raised their vigilance. "Are you sure you came straight ahead?" Marco asked quickly. "Yes, there are still 400 or 500 meters away, and the distance is still shortening." "How come? Have we been discovered? Is it Marine?" Already, Marco's face changed. Marine could have guessed that they were coming on a coated boat from the Fishmen Island. But dozens of ships can be hidden among the roots of trees the size of an entire island. Also made camouflage, hockey and ability. It is also greatly affected in the sea. How could it be possible to lock their position so quickly? Even to prevent one of them from going undercover with Marine. Everyone is in the control of the most trusted people at the moment. Don't do it rashly, maybe it's just a coincidence of passing ships. Of course, the possibility of coincidence is not ruled out. What's wrong, Marco? Whitebeard also sensed the commotion on board. Marco recounted the situation. "It seems that it may still come for us. Ordinary ships will not come to this tree route. Let Janos release the mist, chaos this sea area, see if you can confuse them." Whitebeard mused. Yes, so after a while, a mist came out of the range. Even at the bottom of the sea. It also did not disappear immediately. Instead, it muddies the surrounding seawater. Hazy vision. What are you talking about? Blackmail Whitebeard. Guion didn't quite understand. In her opinion, there is no need to provoke the Whitebeard pirates at this time. Who said I was for money? I was for their genes. Especially the Whitebeard guy. He is known as the strongest man in the world, and if he can study something, even if he clashes with them, it will be worth it. Ren explains. And we now have absolute dominance, there is no possibility of failure. Ren smiled slightly. Okay, degree. Seeing this, Guion saw this, and there was nothing more to say. Soon they came to the murky area. There are giant sea kings tumbling. Sea kings looked rather alarmed. It was as if I was frightened by something, and I panicked everywhere. In the eyes of others, the murky waters here are caused by it. But Ren knew it wasn't. The Whitebeard pirates have sensed their arrival. They also tried to hide their own figures. Ren stared at the Sea Kings. Conqueror's hockey let go. The Sea Kings looked horrified. Then he fled. Whitebeard pirates, no need to hide, I know you are here, I am here for you. Ren sounded with hockey's voice. Even at the bottom of the sea. At this moment, it also clearly reached everyone's ears. Every captain and every pirate elite. Draw a knife and draw a gun immediately. Be ready to fight at any time. Guion also put his hand on his weapon. This is the entire Whitebeard pirate elite. Even if she is a big improvement. You can face them head on. It's nice to be able to protect yourself. It's just Ren, the little madman. Also thinking of blackmailing Whitebeard at such a time. Here Ren, Whitebeard Marco and others knew immediately. Their tricks are completely useless. The other side is sure they are here. It's just that they have absolutely no idea how to expose it. Many pirate ships have traveled to the Fishmen Island before. Some are even close together. But they were not found. Now it was discovered before the war. The situation is not good. Who is it? Whitebeard walked step by step towards the bow of the ship. Held in a Kong yunch, draped in a coat, the crescent-shaped Whitebeard is very characteristic. He asked, facing the silent seabed. A terrifying coercion instantly permeated. In an instant, all the fish around fled this area in panic. Turn on the submarine. Ren ordered the submarine to open. He has built a shield of wind near the submarine. It also looks like a blister. This is Kaido's ability. In the sea, Ren abilities are not affected. You disguise a little, Ren said to Gion. Gion's current identity is not visible. At least not yet. Gion is clear. He changed his outfit, and the knife in his hand was temporarily replaced with a famous knife that was not weaker than Jin Beluo. Ren has won several countries. These include the treasure trove of Mingo and Kaido. There are still a few famous knives in stock. Gion wears a pink rabbit mask. Why do you still carry a mask with you? Do you often do things like robbing homes? Ren looked at Gion suspiciously. Sometimes it's hard to do things under the identity of Marine. Gion gave him a blank look. Himself a Marine, not a bandit. Say what you often do to rob the house. Professional. What can Ren say? I could only give a thumbs up and give a thumbs up. Then the three got out of the submarine. Look at where the Whitebeard pirates are located. Godslayer, Allied Leader, Ren. Cyrus and the disguised Gion are not remarkable at all. Members of the Whitebeard pirates see Ren. The face changed in unison. He also has a nickname, which is Madman. This is also the speed of recent rise that is legendary. A man who makes the whole sea tremble. How is this possible? When I passed by the Fishmen Island not long ago, didn't the report say that he was still in Wano-Kuni, and he killed Kaido and was offered a reward of 5 billion Baileys? How could he suddenly appear here? Team Wubin Captain Foil Beasta said in shock. Wano-Kuni is located by Sabayati Archipelago. It's not something that can be arrived in half a day. And now it is blocking their way. It turned out to be this madman, first killing Mingay, then celestial dragons, then Kaido. Is it staring at Daddy's head now? Joe's was also full of solemnity and jealousy. Bounty for 5 billion Bailey guys. Even their Whitebeard pirates are extremely jealous. Even if Daddy's bounty is 5,046 million Baileys. Bounty criminals like Ren. No matter where you put it. None of them should be underestimated. The Comer is not good. Marco frowned. They had not had any previous cross-talk with the Allies. But judging by the news, this is not good stubble. Ren and Whitebeard meet each other instantly. There seemed to be a muffled thunder. But whoever comes, Whitebeard is fearless. Gola la la, you little devil killed that guy from Kaido. But really seeing Ren so young. Whitebeard's eyes could not hide the surprise. Kaido's strength is purely in terms of destructive power and force value. Although inferior to him, but younger than him, and more outstanding in life and defense. Wano-Kuni's military defense is also superb. So Whitebeard had previously learned about Wano-Kuni from Ace's mouth. But they also did not directly attack Wano-Kuni. Because once that offensive and defensive war begins, the casualties will be enormous. They Whitebeard pirates don't have the kind of chrono soldiers like Ren who can directly ignore defenses. He sighed angrily for the dead. But also for the sake of his children. This time, if it were not for the fact that the Marine headquarters was forced to a situation where there was no way back. Whitebeard won't take the entire pirate group to fight either. I'm here and ask for only one thing. Ren didn't answer Whitebeard's question. Instead, he went straight to the point and showed his intentions. What's the matter? Whitebeard asked lightly, although the little guy in front of him may be amazingly powerful. But lived for so long. Whitebeard has never seen anything strong. Emphasis is valued, but not enough to make him flinch in the slightest. I want a tube of your blood. Everyone else's, Ren cannot care. But Whitebeard, the blood of the strongest monster. You have to get it. Although Summit War also has this opportunity later. But it's easier to get it now. What? Hearing such unkind words from Ren. The captains were immediately furious. Isn't it just a little devil? Watch me go and slaughter him. What a joke. I want Daddy's blood. Sure enough, it's eyeing Daddy's head. Finish him. Whitebeard pirates have been riding the sea for years. Never feared anyone. Now it is even more provoked by others. How can these pirate maniacs accept it? Whitebeard for them. It is a relative, and it is also a godlike existence. They can't let Dad suffer such humiliation. To defend Daddy's dignity. Even if you die in battle, you will never be able to compromise. Boom. Listen to the noisy sounds and murderous aura around you. Whitebeard smacks Kong Yun cut in his hand. The terrifying aura is rising from him. Be quiet, don't be easily angered by the enemy's words, stupid sons. Whitebeard's calm voice is still calm. But his gaze shot towards Ren like a sharp knife light. Are the little devils so arrogant now? One is like Wang Yang. Conqueror's Haki, who was a little more domineering than Kaido, ran over Ren. There are still some fish around that don't have time to escape. They were stunned and floated to the surface. Ren just felt that this Conqueror's Haki was full of tearing. Apparently it has also reached the level of materializing damage. It may even be accompanied by the terrible concussive force of shock fruit. Ren Conqueror's Haki is also on the horizon. The two collide. The current in the entire sea area was suddenly divided into several layers. Make the entire seabed turbulent and dangerous. A devastating abyss crack emerges in the sea. Like space being torn out of an abyss. This surprised everyone. But neither of them remained quiet. No one gave in. Invisible collision and kill. Neck and neck. This made Marco and others realize in an instant. The new four emperors in front of you. It's not a waste. Although young, but really powerful and terrifying. This makes Marco can't help but doubt life. At such a young age, he has the strength to fight against Conqueror's Haki head-on. Definitely an extremely dangerous figure. Scary little devil. Joes and the captains looked more and more solemn. It's not a request, I just want to get what I want. The oppressive feeling of facing Whitebeard is suffocating enough. Ren just said lightly, what if I don't give it? Whitebeard's eyes gradually became serious, and his breath became more and more dangerous. Then in a minute at most, Marine headquarters will know your location. Ren said indifferently. Are you threatening me? No, I'm blackmailing you. You don't want Sengoku to know where you are. Quote. Good Zhao, guts. Whitebeard scolded angrily and suddenly stepped out. Raise your hands in Kong Yunch. Unexpected by Ren. Whitebeard went straight to attack. Buzzing. A white seismic halo covers the blade. Everyone hold on to the hull of the ship, don't be wrapped up in the ability of the father. Seeing this, Marco quickly reminded. The ship approaching Whitebeard at the moment. Back quickly and keep your distance. What a grumpy old man, if it doesn't matter a little blood, it won't affect your body. Ren wasn't surprised. This is one of the expected scenarios. Whoosh, Whitebeard is facing where Ren is. Suddenly stabbed out, looking unpretentious. But in an instant, the surrounding space seemed to shatter. The terrifying earthquake force forced the seawater in front of you to retreat. A concussive force full of destructive power. Follow those atmospheric crevasses and head straight for Ren. More devastating than Ben Thunder Lightning. Ren just watched quietly. Su, a figure catapulted out from next to Ren. It's Gion. She faced this terrifying concussive wave of sword chi. One sword sweep. Woo la la. Sword blades slashed at this shock wave. The two stalemated instantly, electric light, violent wind, and sword chi. At this moment, they all exploded like a storm. The surrounding sea water is divided into multiple ravines. A vacuum has been formed. Pong. Pterodactyl wings emerged from behind Gion, flames wrapped around, and his hands shook suddenly. It directly shattered this shockwave. Liar, Daddy's earthquake impact has been blocked. Everyone in the Whitebeard Pirates is shocked. Can block Hihi so easily. Then shredded the strong ones that Daddy attacked. Never much weaker than Daddy. And it seems that this woman is just an escort or subordinate of the leader of the Allied forces. That's kind of scary. A strong man who is not weak with Marine Admiral acts as an escort. Who is this woman? Such a fierce swordsmanship. Foil Beasta said in shock and excitement. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.